Hey, you actually changed the name this
I
time.
actually remember to change the title this time. And also, shut up. Your face. Shut up with your face.
No. The last one, I think not last one before or whatever was my fault. So,
I stand by what I
I mean,
said.
it was an alternate version of me's fault.
Shut up, you face.
Are we staying with the bit? Man, you're actually managing to get like brand name people.
This was the sponsorship that my friend. We'll do it. We'll get you. We'll get
What?
to it. Never mind.
I'm saying in the thumbnail.
Oh,
Like you have all the actual people.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
you have Big Bird and you have Kermit. Like that's a new thing for us.
I mean, not really. I've been sliding them in for a while now. That.
I guess it's just this is the most of them I've seen.
That.
So I heard us through yours, so it sounds like we're good, right?
That.
Or do I need to check?
I'll double check in a second.
That's a new thing for us.
I mean, not really. I've been sliding them in for a while now.
Yeah, no, we're good.
We're live currently.
Yes, we are.
Are we live? I know you can't see me because apparently you're not on my. There we go.
I can see you. The audience can't see you. Can't see you.
Oh, hey there. We are about to go record a podcast on YouTube, youtube.com/furthermorepodcast. And on today's show, apparently Marge Simpson be dead. She's dead.
No, she's not dead.
Ruin the bit. Ruin the bit. Shh. Keep that shit to yourself.
I hate.
Shit, no. Shh. Keep it to yourself. Turn on. We must recede into our show personas right now. Okay. Whoa. That's Donald Trump. Okay. Now I'm in my show persona. You fucking dude. This podcast is brought to you by the Arte. Okay, 3, 2, 1. This podcast is brought to you by the Arte Media Pantheon. Please head to artemedia.org to see lots of podcasts by our great friends. And if you'd like to start your own podcast, they can provide you with the tools and resources to do so there. So please head to artemedia.org. That's ARETE media.org. On with the show, Jordan.
On with the show, Justin.
I can't look at you now because every time I look at you, it makes me laugh. What? How dare you? How dare you tell me about that? Now I can't unnotice it. Quite frankly, how dare you? Welcome to Spurr podcast, everybody.
I'm just amazed that it took you that long.
Son of a...
I thought for sure that you knew.
No clue. I am your host, Justin Spurr, and as always, I am joined by the incorrigible, but also incomparable Jordan. He's here.
I is he is I.
We are going to be talking about the electric mayhem later. We'll be talking about bring your own topic.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, yeah! We're talking about bring your own topic, in which I have brought the topic of puppets. Jordan hath brought the topic of...
Toys.
I brought toys. He brought toys. Which is like, I feel like it's like puppet adjacent.
But, you know, I think we should just all be impressed that I didn't be lazy and pick Toy Story 3.
It's true. But, don't interrupt me. But first, we have to tackle the news, including Marge Simpson is dead? Is Howard the Duck gonna be in Avengers Endgame? Social Network 2, Lilo and Stitch 2, the Vision. Apparently in that Wednesday show, Pugsley is evil and has powers. What the fuck? Sonic racing game, Street Fighter casting news. So what first? Apparently Marge Simpson is dead, everybody. She died. They killed her off in the most recent season finale of The Simpsons. Now's the... Jordan, you missed your cue. Now's the moment.
Oh.
Jesus.
No,
you had one job.
She's not.
She's not dead.
She's not. Well, maybe we should be talking about bits before time.
No, it makes it organic.
No, she's not dead. None of those future. I mean, Simpsons has a loose canon at best.
Okay,
At
so
best, the creator of the show has him, or one of the people on the show has themselves said. I saw
yes.
this popped up that no, there is no canon. The future episodes are not canon. If there ever was a canon, she's not dead. She was in one thing where it was no,
So
stop it,
okay,
stop it.
let's talk about the story properly. So this is what the story is. So for whatever reason, okay, in the most recent season finale of The Simpsons, they did one of them future in the future episodes, and in it, somewhere down the line, Marge dies, and the bit is that Marge dies before Homer. That's the joke, and it's supposed to be a take on Toy Story, and they do a parody of the When Somebody Loved You. Sarah McLachlan sings it. And this past week to 2 weeks, I say week, the internet has like picked up screen grabs from it, and there's been a shit ton of those clickbait fucking pages that are like Marge Simpson is dead, and
So
because people on the internet, hold on, let me finish. Because people on the internet don't know how to friggin' read. They just see the screen cap, and it's a ton of a mix of what I'm guessing is troll comments and genuinely stupid people. You may go now.
So I was gonna say, part of the thing is, and yeah, this is it's a snowball effect thing. So from what I understand, and I don't know if this was an intentional like nod to it or whatever, but I think it was the Spanish version. One of the actresses who plays one of the other language versions of Marge passed away. And so it seems to be this conflating story where some people are like, oh, they did this episode as like a nod to that, as like a send-off, which no, I don't think that's true. But that's what some people are saying. And then others are then taking that, like, and so the Marge is dead. They're combining it with the actress died, and then they're conflating that, and then stupid people are coming along and reading just the Marge is dead thing and not taking the time to find out any of the, like, and it's snowballing into this big stupid thing of Marge the character is dead and is never coming back. It's like, no, that's not the case.
The official Spur of the Moment stance is read the freaking article. Read the article.
Yeah.
Read the article first.
Yeah.
Okay? And like it got so bad. You already referenced this, but yeah, one of the producers of The Simpsons had to come out and be like, no, we're not killing her off. She's not dead. She's gonna show up on the show. These potential future episodes are just possible futures. They're not actual futures. It's The Simpsons. Nothing is set in stone. Oh my God, why are we talking? This is such a big deal that the article I pulled up a couple articles for this, and both of them were on CBC and CTV. What? What?
Now that being said, I would kind of respect the hell out of them if the next season started. It was the season opener, and Marge was dead, and like Marge wasn't there anymore, and they just went forward with that. That would be funny to me.
That would be pretty ballsy.
And it would be ballsy, but
I confess,
no, that's not.
I confess, it did kind of get me at first, where I went, "Wait, what?" And I clicked on it, and I was like, "No, yeah, these clips came out like weeks ago. Why is it all of a sudden?" Yeah, the internet's so bizarre, and how it's both slow and fast. It's very strange. But no, Marge Simpson is not dead. Learn to Google. Google's free, people.
No, I mean the thing is with the advent. With the advent of AI technology, once the actress who can't play Marge really can't do that voice anymore, they'll just replace her with an AI.
That's what they say. I mean, I'm just for like, and we're
the Simpsons will never die.
No.
They will go on forever.
But I'm like, I mean, voice match. Find someone who can do a decent voice match. I'm sure they
oh yeah, sure, you could, but I mean, studios studios, especially Disney, want to pay less money, so they will just use cheap AI.
I will say, for every decent Bart and Homer, I've never every Marge I've ever heard makes me cringe. I've never heard a good Marge. Don't do it.
What are you talking about?
No, he's doing it. He's doing it. It's just as bad as I thought it would be. It's bad.
Oh no!
I hate it. Please stop. Please stop. Jordan, Seth Green was asked about Howard the Duck's MCU future. He was asked if he was going to be showing up. Howard the Duck was going to show up in Avengers Doomsday. And Jordan, what do you think he said?
I have no idea.
Jordan, what he said was,
No, no, that's what I think he said. I have no idea.
Oh.
They don't tell you about these things.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, you're wrong. He says that he, quote, has zero confidence that that's ever going to happen. He says if he was gonna, he probably would know about it by now. But I mean, he might show up in the background.
Well, I mean, well, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, no, in that movie, the realistic answer that I would give is, in that movie, everyone's gonna be there. It's just about what capacity. So Howard the Duck will be there in the background in like a 2-second shot where you see him fighting using quack fu, and it quickly pans to another character that's also fighting. Reason why he has no idea is because he won't have a voice.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he'll just be a CGI character in the background. Because yeah, like there's no way you're doing a multiverse thing. I mean, it would surprise me if they didn't do live action versions of the original characters they did in the What If show. I'd be very surprised if they didn't pop up in like at least a background
In some capacity, yeah. But I mean, that's just my perspective.
That's just
I keep waiting for them to make the live action movie of that character that was from What If that they introduced in that show, that whose name I don't remember, but she was Native American.
Yeah, I know, me too. I'm surprised that she hasn't become her own thing yet. Jordan. Huh.
Yes, that is my name.
Jordan, they're making a second Social Network movie.
What?
Jordan, would you like to guess what you think it's going to be called?
The Meta movie?
Wow. You want to take another? I'll give you another try. That was bad. Try one more time.
That was not bad. It's now called Meta. If I think that there's going to be anything that this Facebook movie is going to be about, it's going to be when it's transitioning from being Facebook to Meta.
So
that's what I think. That's where I think it would go. I'm otherwise like, what do you do? The first one was about the creation of the Facebook. It now exists. Where's the logical conclusion? The only other thing that could be is when he's in front of Congress. Is it about when he's in front of Congress? Because then I'm going to call it congressional oversight and why it should exist.
Jordan, it's called The Social Network Part 2.
That's lame. Mine's better.
And
the Meta Experience is a way better name. Fight me.
Apparently according to Aaron Sorkin, the writer, it's going to be a quasi-sequel. It's not really going to be like a total sequel. It's going to be a quasi-sequel that is apparently about January 6th.
So it has nothing to do with Facebook.
Apparently he said jokingly, like, January 6th was Facebook's fault.
Okay. I'm not equipped to handle that right now.
All right. That's what I have to say to that. All right.
Just moving on.
Jordan, apparently they announced this already. It's happening. It made way too much money. It made an embarrassing amount of money. Y'all should be embarrassed. I'm kidding. They're making Lilo and Stitch 2.
I'm not kidding. Y'all should be embarrassed.
And Jordan, apparently, so go with the rumor, it is not going to be adapted off of the show.
Yeah, of course. It couldn't be. Jumba's evil. That completely changes the nature of what it would be about. It has to be different.
Or the second movie, which tells me that
which
just want to use
as
the
an
characters
aside,
but don't want to use this. So I guarantee you.
Yeah, well,
Ruben
I was
going to
say.
up. I guarantee you or the girl will show up.
I don't think they will.
The girl will totally show up.
Well, the girl probably will, but more like the Ruben and the Ruben maybe. I guess I'm more talking Hamsterville.
No, Hamsterville.
I don't. Also, you have no Gantu, so it's like it really just has to be about Jumba escapes and then he creates a new experiment and he's gonna be the bad guy again.
There's gonna be 3. Wow. No Hamsterville. Apparently, the rumor is that Gantu is gonna be in it. So I've heard, but it'll be Gantu. Gantu breaks out Jumba. 627 will be there. Leroy 627 will be there. And so it'll be Evil Stitch versus Good Stitch, and then they'll have the girl one. They will have the girl one because the girl one is gonna do a double agent thing where you think she's on Stitch's side, she's stealing Stitch's attention away from Lilo, and then there's the friction, and then big shock twist, third act, she's evil. That's what they're gonna do.
So here's my
And
thing.
then she's gonna
Here's
have
my
a change
thing.
of heart, and then she's gonna betray the bad guy and save Stitch. That's what's gonna happen.
Here's my thing, because you were always far softer on the first one than I was right from the get go. Because this one is not going to so much be based on anything. Do you think it will be better? Do you think it has a shot of being better?
Yes, but it won't make as much money. It'll do way worse.
Like all of these, it'll be more creatively there, but because it's creative, people will hate it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Jordan, did you know that they were making a Vision show?
I think you've told me that.
And it has a bad name, Vision Quest.
Yes, I feel like you've mentioned this before.
And apparently,
to which I'm gonna give the same response that I have in previous times. I'm sure. I'm not a big Vision guy, but the actor's okay. Like I like things that he's been in. I just have no strong feelings one way or the other. It's just gonna depend on what it's really like.
Apparently, it is gonna wrap at the end of next year sometime.
Okay. So I guess the MCU is not dying then, eh?
I guess not. So, the guy who directed Thunderbolts is going to be directing... Well, he's been rumored to be directing the Marvel's new X-Men movie, but he apparently has not signed for that. And he was asked what he would do with the X-Men if he were making a movie. And what do you think he said, Jordan?
Who is this?
The guy who directed Thunderbolts. His name doesn't matter because you don't
Thunderbolts. In terms of like what he said in terms of like story, or in terms of like what characters he'd want to use.
Just what did he say generally about what he was going to do with the X-Men movie?
Have a lot of fun. Use iconic characters that people love, and maybe bring new depth to characters that might have not been seen in a while.
You know what? I'm going to give it to you. That's pretty close. Initially, he said, even if I were confirmed on that movie, I don't think I'd be allowed to tell you that. But he did say what his approach would be. He said, I guess I would say that it always starts from character and working with great writers and collaborators. And certainly thinking about how to do something different than with any other project you take on. That's as much as I can say. Which I feel, in spirit, is pretty much what you just said.
I'm going to take the win. I will allow it. It was my choice to accept it. Because I'm so humble.
It's true. It's true.
Hashtag humble brag. So what's next? What's next on the docket? What do we got here?
So
what's coming?
Pedro Pascal is aware that the fans were not happy that he was Mr. Fantastic in that Fantastic Four movie. Jordan, he said that there are 3 reasons for this. What do you think those 3 reasons are?
For why he's in the movie, or for why people were unhappy that he was in the movie?
Why he thinks that people were unhappy.
He wasn't John Krasinski. He's too old is maybe a reason why people don't like it. And, I'm just going to say the thing that a lot of the racists... He's too ethnic, maybe?
Interesting. So, okay. Corey, you got one of them. You got one. You got 1 out of 3.
That's my guess for what I think other people would say.
He said he was aware.
I want to clarify. I don't think those things.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. This is what he said. He said, blah blah blah. People weren't happy about it. He said he saw what they were saying. He said he's too old, he's not right, and he needs to shave.
Oh, okay. I guess, yeah, he has a beard or something, doesn't he?
I guess he does have a beard, doesn't he? That didn't bother me.
That's not something that I don't really...
For me, it was more of a bias thing.
Yeah, he doesn't... I'm just going to say it. I wanted John Krasinski, and I don't think anything but that would have made me satisfied. Personally. For me, that would be my answer for why I'm not thrilled that he's also just oversaturated. He's in too many things.
He is in too many things. I definitely agree. I need to see the movie. before I have any further.
My final thoughts have to come after I've seen it, but just
pretty low,
the I don't really care for most of the characters. The only character I really cared about was Mr. Fantastic, and that's because I wanted John Krasinski.
The only character I really cared about was Ben Grimm, and they're pretty much nailing that.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like the Thing.
He just has to look like the Thing and be from the Bronx. That's my two requirements.
Exactly.
It's not a particularly high bar, and heck, the person who's playing him doesn't even have to be from the Bronx. He just has to be a passable from the Bronx voice.
So so this next story, Jordan.
He's always got to kind of talk like this. Well, this is the Bronx, right? Terrible.
So Jordan, every once in a while, I pull a story for a thing which I have no idea what the context for this is, but it was so absurd I had to mention it. And there's a season 2 news for Wednesday, that Netflix Addams Family show where it's Adult Wednesday.
Okay, this is a thing that exists. I see.
Where Jenna Ortega's in it. It's on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, right, that one.
Gomez Addams is played by.
I literally know nothing about it, but I recognize the thing that you're describing.
She goes to Hogwarts. That's basically what the plot of it is. But anyway, so
that apparently I didn't even know that much. So that really just tells you.
The headline is Wednesday season 2. Devious Pugsley will have powers, larger role. And I went,
Isn't Pugsley her brother?
Yeah. And then you read the article, and it's like, yeah, no, he has powers now. Which just kind of seems like that kind of misses the point of Addams Family.
None of them have powers. They're just weird and kooky.
They're just weird and kooky and gothic. Like they're not. It's not like
they don't. She's not a witch. She's not Sabrina.
No, the Addams Family has never been magical, to my knowledge. Anyway. No, not from my memory. I don't recall it ever being magical. I mean, I suppose it is because they do have a disembodied hand. So I guess maybe they are vaguely magical. But I've never thought of them as magical.
I mean, I always interpreted that more as they're like Frankenstein. Like science,
more science.
They brought the hand back to life. They didn't
that's a good point.
Magic it back to life. Like I don't.
Somebody tell me down in the comments: is the Addams Family magical?
Because wasn't their butler? He was basically just Frankenstein.
He was, yeah, pretty much, yeah. He was Lurch, yeah. He was pretty much just Frankenstein.
No, they definitely don't scream Harry Potter magic to me.
No.
That's weird. That's a weird thing that you've described.
Somebody down in the comments tell me, are the Addams Family magical? Because I don't
Have they ever been magical?
So Jordan, they're making I guess it takes place after the second movie, but they're making they've made, I guess, a Chicken Run video game. It's called Chicken Run Extraction. And it's like a top-down kind of like a stealth troop management game. I've seen gameplay clips of it. It looks pretty fun.
For console? For PC? For handheld? Is there even handheld anymore? Why did handheld consoles die? Why was that a market? Sorry, that's a tangent. My brain just thought of. Anyways.
Yeah, according to this, it's coming to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S-X, and PC via Steam.
Well, okay then.
Yeah, it looked pretty fun. I was like, all right, this not necessarily my game, but my kind of game. But I was like, oh yeah, it looked kind of fun.
So now hot thought here.
Hot thoughts.
Switch killed the mobile game market.
A little bit, yeah. But to be fair, that was by design. They wanted to bring the hardware and the power of a console gaming experience to a handheld gaming experience, and they kind of didn't do that.
No, because I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not taking my $400 Switch out to the bus stop.
Some people do. Some people have the courage to do that. I don't.
I could never do that.
No, I feel nervous enough carrying around my phone.
Yeah, but I mean, like PlayStation. When was the last time we had a mobile one for them? PS Vita.
They have one. I can't remember what it's called. But it basically runs the PS4 on a little. But I think it requires you.
I'm pretty sure that's just a remote play thing where you can play it in the house, but you can't take it out.
I don't know enough about it to say yes or no.
Sorry. Anyways, that's a different conversation for a different day. That's a random tangent.
Random tangents. So in Street Fighter news, you know what? We're gonna get rid of that one. They announced a bunch of Street Fighter casting news. So now the cast includes Andrew Koji from Snake Eyes as Ryu, Noah Centineo, the recruit and Warfare as Ken, Jason Momoa, Aquaman, and Fast X
we knew he was Blanca.
Is Blanca. It says former WWE champ Roman Reigns. It does not say who he is. And then Kalina Liang as Chun-Li. And
former wrestler or Roman Reigns as himself.
It doesn't say who he is.
It's just all the other Street Fighter characters and him.
I can see maybe he's Zangief, but it doesn't say. The article doesn't say who he is. And then Orville Peck as Vega, and then they also announced 50 Cent.
50 Cent.
50 Cent himself is going to be Balrog, the boxer who is M. Bison's bodyguard.
50 Cent.
50 Cent.
He's 50 Cent.
Jordan, are you excited for the Street Fighter movie?
Largely indifferent. Not a big Street Fighter guy.
Nah, me neither. But
I'd be more excited if what you were describing was a Tekken movie that I grew up with.
Yeah.
That I'd be kind of interested in watching another live action one of those.
And it's 50 Cent as the guy who's the kickboxer. I don't remember his name.
Part of your Broadway World podcast says, "Hi, sorry I'm late. I had some shocking things happen that I'll tell you, Justin, and Jake when we talk at 5:30.
Oh my. Shocking. News.
Anyways.
Later. To be revealed. Later.
To be concluded.
Later. Anyway, finally, the final bit of news for this week.
Final Frontier?
The Final Frontier. I think that Sonic game is diluting its own brand. Because it's all the trailers and the most exciting parts about that game are not Sonic characters. Everyone's excited for SpongeBob, and you're like, well, then make a SpongeBob game.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Is that it?
No, I mean, I have more.
Is that all you have to say?
No, I have more. But I was pausing what I was saying to provide you space to jump on in and disagree with me.
So I am on the opposite side of this thing because those are DLC characters. So the main game is not that, and the main game offers a lot of interesting things, like their rival system, where apparently they have like over 100. And yes, this doesn't work with the DLC characters, but again, they're DLC characters. They're not meant to be the thing that has a lot of, you know what I mean? The rival characters, for example, like if you're Knuckles, your rival character is Sonic. They have a lot of dialogue between them where there's trash talk and stuff like that in between races, before races, after races. That and just the technological idea of as you're coming to the end of one lap, I've seen gameplay where like they'll have 2 rings basically, and you drive through them, and depending on how many people, as I understand it, go through each one, then the next lap you then go to that course, same race without a loading screen. Like there's a lot of technical aspects about it that are what get people excited. As for the diluting and losing the Sonic aspect of it, to be fair, this is a racing franchise which has also been around for a while. It's been around since like the PlayStation 3 or something like that. So at a certain point, it's not much like I argue with Mario Kart. For me, this is where I'm not excited by a lot of the Mario games anymore because they're all the same. They're all the same. They just all feel the same. They're finally
doing stuff that people did 20 years ago. It's like, I'm sorry, you've got a basic bitch free roaming system. Oh, Oh, Diddy Kong
It's
Racing
not.
did it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not even that other companies did. Like on their own console, it's been done years ago.
Right.
And the fact that in this version, in their world version, it's not even like there's a story mode attached to it.
Nope.
Like there's nothing to make it. It's just you can drive between the courses. Which, as an aside, they've now made the choice where, because as I understand it, prior to this most recent patch in Mario World, you could basically, if you vote at the end of your course, if you're doing a Grand Prix or whatever, you vote at the end to choose which one that you want to go to. And if it's within driving distance in their world, they now have what they call these, like, basically location races.
Ugh.
Where you have to, and that's one of the laps that you do, or one of the races that you do, instead of a different one. So you waste a race having to race to the next race course before you can actually. And so prior to this recent patch, apparently you could vote to just do one that's far enough away, that you can't do one of those in between races. And Nintendo has eliminated that because they're essentially being like, you're not playing the game right, so we're going to force you to do it the way that we want you to, which is forcing you to live in this world that nobody cares about.
That's dumb. That is dumb.
And so one of the, I think it's the lead creator, when asked why there wasn't any of the DLC characters like Link or the villagers or Mii's or anything like that were in previous games, his reason was because they don't fit into this Mario world, which, as an aside, is bullcrap because they're Nintendo characters and they absolutely do.
I mean, one of your characters is literally a cow.
Like that's my thing.
It's a cow.
There's nothing. There's nothing. You say that the
cow.
that the guest DLC characters for Sonic dilute that game. I don't agree.
They feel
I think
and lazy because
I think they bring in they bring in a wider market of people that you wouldn't have brought in otherwise.
None of them have
I think it's smart.
None of them have voices because they can't afford the licensing to any of them, so they just silently drive around the tracks. It's awful. They're so half-hearted.
They're DLC character.
I don't care. It's $1 billion company. Put some fucking effort and spend some money on the licensing. Like, actually,
at least they're trying to do something different. At least they're not just releasing the same game over and over again.
Get Tom Kenny in to do some new voice lines or something. Like, put some, like,
how do you know that by the time the game doesn't come out, they won't have used like sound bites from previous? Because the gameplay of the guest characters looks bad. There have been from Nickelodeon, the Nickelodeon characters in particular, there have been kart racers. It would be very easy for them to put those files in.
Or like,
how do you know they won't be the final game? Especially if by the time this game comes out, because those characters aren't released on release. A lot of them are later DLC characters. So for all you know, by the time they come out, they will have recorded voice lines.
I mean, that's not what I've heard, but I've also seen.
It's not out yet. You can't judge that. You can judge that. You can judge that once the game comes out. If it's still like that, absolutely. But until that point, I feel like it's not fair to judge a book before it's released.
I don't know. I saw the gameplay for the Minecraft levels and the Minecraft gameplay, and I'm like, it just doesn't. This just looks like, and it's the same thing with the SpongeBob. It just looks like a completely different game. It just doesn't look like. And I'm like, okay.
But that's the point. They're using the rings to go cross dimensions.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's
a selling point, is that you want those levels and those parts to look and feel different. They should not feel like the Sonic Kart parts.
It just, if it makes it look, I don't know. The trailers just make it look kind of bland and generic. I don't know. I've not seen.
Respectfully, I disagree. This is the most excited that I've been for a while about a kart racer.
It just reminds me like one of those, those platformer fighters where it's just like they're just trying to do Mario Kart, and I don't know, it's just there's nothing.
I mean,
in there
any kart racer is just trying to do Mario Kart. What are you talking about?
I just don't think this is going to be it. I don't know. Maybe if they put some.
Here's my question.
The IP?
Would you spend $90 on Mario World?
No, but
then it's not any good either.
No, but I'm just saying, like, my main point with this is it's if you're gonna utilize IP, just utilize it more interestingly. That's all I'm saying.
But see, my point is that, okay, like, I'll concede. I'm like, I don't necessarily disagree, but my point is, we're talking about it, right? It has garnered enough attention and enough. To
be fair, other people are talking about.
We're talking about it. But I'm saying for you and I. I'm not talking about everyone else. I'm just talking about for you and I. We are talking about it. We wouldn't have a news article talking about the world game because it's just so bland and boring looking.
There's just nothing about it. Yeah, there's nothing really about it. I mean, we did.
See?
We did.
Hakime agrees with me and says, I have to agree. This game is the most excited I've been for a racing game.
All right, fair enough. To be fair, no, I was, but also we did talk about Mario World. We talked about Cow. How can we not talk about Cow? How are you not excited to be that cow from that one level in that one Mario Kart game?
I'm not. I think it's stupid. I thought it was stupid when I heard about it. And 90% of the characters in that game are just Mario or any of the other characters in a costume. Yeah, that's not a different character. That's just a costume.
I think it's because I played the other Sonic racing games a bunch, and there's just like the thing that makes a kart racer stand out.
To me, that's the equivalent of like in those Dragon Ball games where they're like, yeah, we have over 70 characters and like 16 of them are Goku in a different transformation.
Oh, speaking of did you see? Speaking of Dragon Ball, did you see that they put? Oh, what's the character's name? Shallot. They put Shallot.
Yeah, from one of the mobile games or something.
Like, hey, I recognize that character. The guy who played him was so excited.
Hakime says, when I saw one of the level look like Hydro Thunder, I was hooked.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it's because when I played the first Mario or Sonic All-Star, it was just so bland and generic. And it was just like, oh yeah, this is just a more bland...
Yeah, but that was on the PlayStation 3 like 20 years ago.
Yeah, this just looks like more of the same. I don't know. There's nothing about this it really is... I guess the going through portals is cool.
To me, yeah, it's the fact that really. in this day and age, the technology is there to load and then completely load a separate level while never actually going to a loading screen.
But yeah, when the trailer was like, "Oh yeah, here's the guy from
like
Persona,"
it's not even
like all right, I guess.
Like from what I've seen, it's not even like in previous ones where like you go to like a end of the race, like you're coming first and it's got the results on the screen and you're like, that's what's secretly loading, and like not even that. From what I've seen, it's just literally you continue racing straight into a separate level.
I think I would be more like, oh yeah, if they called it Sega, I know it's like such a nitpick, but I think it's because they're trying to be like, oh, it's a Sonic game, but it's not a Sonic. Like there's like too many guest characters for it to be like, call it like Sega All Stars Racing or like something like that. And then
that's fair. Because, like, even from the beginning, like, in those earlier ones, it was more of a Sega game. Like, they had Monkey Ball in one of the earlier ones. They had Taxi Driver in one of the earlier ones.
Same.
So, like, it was always kind of more of a Sega racer.
Because I'm like,
I think you probably would be more content if it was, like, Sonic Sega All-Star Racers or something, like where it at least acknowledges the other characters.
I think what would make me more excited is if it had a story mode that, like, my thing is, like, if you're gonna do a cross-dimensional kind of game, if you're just gonna have a generic skin of SpongeBob come in, saying repeated pre-recorded lines that they've got from the archive instead of new recorded lines for that game, that's not interesting to me. That's not exciting. If I wanted to play a generic SpongeBob racer, it's like you said, when I saw that, the first words that popped in my head were, oh, the Nickelodeon license sure must have been expensive. Like, but none of these characters have any life or any character. They're just hollow theme park mascot, like, representation.
I will say,
interesting to me.
If I could do it my way, I would have made it where and I'm assuming there's not, but maybe there is. If there is not a story mode, then I would have made it where there is a story mode. And I mean, I know why this would never happen, because it would directly clash with the thing that Nintendo is trying to sell. But I would have it be where in the story mode, like the Sonic racers meet up with a bunch of different ones, like stuff from Microsoft, stuff from
Yeah,
Nintendo,
that would be cool.
stuff like from all over the. But again, I know why Nintendo doesn't want that to happen, because you obviously don't want Mario showing up in the Sonic, like the Sega kart racer, to directly compete against themselves. Now that being said, it would be cool if they did that and then had Sonic come over and be in Mario Kart. Like, you could be doing like a whole cross promotion thing and make it a whole thing.
If
but
maybe in the story mode, Sonic from the Roger Craig Smith Sonic went through a portal and he's hanging out with Ben Schwartz Sonic, then I'd be stoked on this, right? Because I'm like, I'm so sick to death.
I mean, I have heard rumors that two of the characters are Sonic version of Mario, or Sonic version of movie version of Sonic and movie version of Shadow, but I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, probably. It's the same thing as... Well, no, he actually recorded... I will give Keanu Reeves credit. He recorded actual lines for the Shadow one. But,
oh, yeah.
It's so disappointing and disheartening to me, that you bring in these guest characters and you don't do anything with them. Like,
again, though, to be fair, it's a long while from it being released, and even further from those DLC characters coming out. There is time for them to go and do stuff.
That's not what I've heard. I've heard it's all because there's people who have been playing betas and stuff, and it's all like.
Again, sure, but those are betas, and it's months from those being, and then again, even further from DLC characters being released.
No, that's not what I've heard. I've heard because of licensing, because like for example, apparently, the Werehog, Sonic the Werehog is in there, but he doesn't speak because they don't have the rights to use the guy Jason Griffith that version of Sonic. They can't use it.
But again, my point is that just because it's like that currently, you yourself have spoken as to how easy it is to get someone in a voice recording booth and record something. There is still time. Now, am I saying that I think that will happen? No, not necessarily. But there is still time. Right. They could.
What I'm saying is they're not going to, though, because of legal licensing reasons. They can't.
But again, legal licensing reasons can change in a couple months. Is what I'm saying, Justin.
They won't. They won't change in a couple months.
Okay, so you're a mind reader, or you're a future teller.
I'm not that I'm a
you can tell the future.
Is I know how contracts work in Hollywood. No, they're legally not. There was a video I saw of Roger Craig Smith. They were asking him, "Oh, are you going to be playing the Werehog?" And he was like, "No, I legally can't." So no, they legally can't use these voices. Not without contract.
Yeah, but things can change, Jess.
They wouldn't pay the money for it. Not for DLC characters. So what it means is, yeah, you're going to have pre-recorded like laughs and shit that they've pre-done that's archived, and there's not gonna be cut scenes or any story content or any
well, again, no, they're DLC characters.
Like
they're DLC characters. They would never be.
Right,
they would never do that for DLC characters.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, okay, you do a race on the SpongeBob truck with the SpongeBob characters with generic SpongeBob pre-recorded dialogue. What makes it a Sonic game at that point? That's
what I would expect from DLC. What makes it Sonic is the main game where you do probably have a story, where there is probably and that's where you get all the Sonic stuff.
I guess my point is the trailers are not, in my opinion, for me, doing a very good job of selling this. It's just not.
But see, that's where you're the cynic who hates racing games, and it is doing something.
That's
for
because,
me.
in my opinion, Mario Kart kind of perfected kart racers. Whether or not you think they've evolved or not, the foundation of all kart racers, the blueprint to all kart racers, is Mario Kart.
Sure, but then I could go back and play any number of them, and why should I get the newest one at $90?
What I'm saying is this doesn't, for me. I guess traveling between the levels. Yeah, that's an impressive bit, but just stylistically. Like, for me, what makes a good kart racer different is, like, are the weapons interesting? Is the gameplay interesting? It's like, no, it's still just a basic bitch cartwheel with extra bells and whistles. Like, it's just...
Oh, see, I guess that's where we differ, is as far as I'm concerned, you're right, Nintendo mastered the kart racer back in the 90s with Mario 64 on the N64. Any kart racer that has come out since then, all it has to do is do that, and I'm pretty content. It's still just a kart racer. They're all kart racers. They're all the same.
Yeah, I
There's
know,
nothing.
but
There's nothing different about any of them for me, and I don't need there to be anything different for
certain
me.
ones don't have
The thing, the
have
thing,
different
the
gimmicks
thing.
though, and that make it interesting. So, like for me, Double Dash is my favorite Mario Kart game because there's something different about it. They're doing something
Sure,
different. This just doesn't seem to be.
but well, again, but what this is doing, and that is different, is those portals. That's what's
Yeah.
doing different, and it doesn't do it for you. That's great, but you can't say it's not doing anything different.
I
That
just
is what
don't
is different.
think it's enough. It's not enough.
Whether it's not enough,
Not
whether
enough.
it's not enough, most kart racers are not enough. Most kart racers are just Mario Kart with a slightly different paint on it.
Yeah.
And what's going to ultimately matter is, do you like that paint? I do, because I like Sonic more than I like Mario.
I think I like because you're like, oh, part of the appeal is that Sonic characters interact with each other. I'm like, I've seen that. I want to see, like I say, the marketing of this thus far has been, hey, look, check out the guest characters, and that's great. But then that's why I'm holding the guest characters to a standard, because I'm like, if it's gonna be about the guest characters, then you need to put the effort into the guest characters. I want to see Sonic and SpongeBob interact. I'm just using SpongeBob as an example, but like I want to see Minecraft Steve and Sonic interact, and Minecraft Steve for some reason has Jack Black's voice. Like that's what I want. Like that's the only reason to do a gimmick like this is to do that. Or like, yeah,
I don't inherently disagree. But again, my thing is that, and this is where this is my hope. Even though I know I'm ultimately going to be let down, and it's not going to be. But this is my hope. My hope is that ultimately those DLC characters are just DLC characters. They can be the ones that are a letdown, and ultimately were the thing to hook people in, to get them to appreciate the truly cool thing of all the secret characters that they haven't actually told us about, that aren't DLC characters, that are going to be in the game somewhere, that are going to completely blow our minds, and those will have all the interactive things, and that's where all of the effort is actually going. And these DLC characters are the red herring people into being like, oh, that looks really cool, and dragging people in just so they can be surprised by the even cooler thing.
Because like, yeah,
that's my hope.
If this game gets like all of the Sonics back, and yeah, there you can race as all the different versions of Sonic, and they all give each other the business while they drive, hell yeah, I will rescind all criticism. But yeah,
that's what I'm hoping, is that we get something like that.
It just looks like a basic bitch kart racer. It's just nothing really.
But again, I argue that all kart racers are that. Right. All of them. Every single one.
That's where you have to like do something.
And it ultimately comes down to what coat of paint you like.
Yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings. Anyway,
I certainly agree with I certainly do agree with Hikime, who says the price is insane, but I'll get it on sale. That's probably going to be me.
And I will get it on sale, and let's get rid of that so the audience doesn't have to hear that happen.
What?
Oh, okay. Apparently you can still hear it. What the hell?
I can't hear anything.
The stream can hear my Facebook notifications. There we go. Okay. There we go.
Oh. That's awkward for you.
Because the screen can hear my screen, and they can hear my Facebook. Although I guess I could have. Anyway, that's the news. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Today's episode is sponsored by my good friend Leanne. She works for a company called Wild Education, and they need to raise money, $96,000, I believe, to help move. They are very good. They're a very good cause. I'm gonna play a video for you in a second that tells you all about what they need, what they do. But Leanne was very cool. She let me go by there one day, and she showed me a bunch of animals. I got to hold a snake. It's really weird. They're like pure muscle. I got to have a tengu in my lap. They're like a lizard with puffy cheeks, and they're really cute. They like sit in your lap, and they're like little lap dogs, but they're a lizard. I met the gentleman who runs it. He is also very cool. He was very chill about us letting us be there after hours. I got to see a big spider. It's really cool. I'm gonna try to play the video for you now. It's a bit of a long one. It's about 3 minutes long, and you won't see me and Jordan for a few minutes. I'm gonna figure out if I can mute it so you can't hear us, so we can talk. Anyway, here comes the video.
In Langley, British Columbia, lives one of Western Canada's best-kept secrets. We are Wild Education, Western Canada's largest reptile and small exotic animal rescue. And right now, we're launching our most urgent fundraiser ever.
Less than 1 year ago, we opened the doors to our brand new education center, a space we poured all of our savings into building. But due to changes in land development, we found out we only have 9 months to find a new place and move out. This will be the third time in 5 years we've been forced to relocate, and this time we simply don't have the funds to do it again.
Unlike traditional rescues with puppies and kittens, reptiles don't get the same level of support. But our animals need it just as much because they don't have anywhere else to go. That's why we're asking for your help now.
Last year alone, we took in 153 animals, including reptiles, amphibians, and furry exotics like chinchillas, sugar gliders, ferrets, and even hedgehogs. Many came to us sick, injured, abandoned, or surrendered by families who could no longer care for them due to the rising cost of living.
One of those animals was Gary, a serval who couldn't find a home anywhere else in BC after his family broke apart. No one else could take him in, but we did. Because oftentimes, we are the last resort.
We are currently also home to 12 rescued sulcata tortoises, some weighing over 120 pounds. But we know more will come in this year, who need lots of space, warmth, and lifelong care. Wild Education isn't just a rescue, it's a mission. Our entire rescue is funded by our education program. This program travels to schools and other events to help teach about the natural history, conservation, and responsible ownership of these amazing animals. We give people the knowledge to hopefully prevent animals from ending up in our rescue in the first place.
But now, more than ever, the future of Wild Education, its current animals, its future animals depends on your support. We know it's a lot, but we're trying to raise $1 million to buy a permanent property. A forever home where we'll never have to move again, and where our animals can finally be safe for good.
So if you've ever wanted to make a big difference in the life of something a little different, this is your moment. Please visit www.wildeducation.ca to donate or click on the GoFundMe link. We need your help to save Wild Education so we can keep saving them.
Turn that on. So now they can hear us. I got switch back over to me. Turn. Mute that now. Because we're back. We're back. Okay, whoa.
I didn't have anything going. That was you.
Whoa, that was me. Now it's gonna be black screen for a minute. Wait,
Welcome back.
We're back. There's a weird delay. Welcome back. Yeah, so click the. Oh, that was open for a really long time. Okay, no, nobody saw that. Click the link in the description below to go support Wild Education. They're really cool. It's a worthy cause. Help the animals, especially the little.
Look at all those adorable animals. Help them, and I mean, you definitely want to help them all, even the spider, because all life is important, and we should be respectful for it all.
Exactly. And I'm probably gonna make this into a YouTube video, and when I do, I'm gonna cut out that bit where you accidentally saw my screen. It's important that you know that.
Okay, I understand.
Go support Wild Education. The link
Do
to the
it.
Kickstarter is in the description. Thank you.
Do it
Thank you.
for a good cause.
For a good cause. On with the show, Jordan.
On with the show. This is it.
So yeah, every once in a while, you guys, we have episodes which are like there's not enough there to do a full episode, but like enough to do like a half an episode. And one such topic was puppets. I wanted to do stuff about puppets, and I was like, I don't know that there's enough. So I was like, well, I'll split it into a half topic, and I'll make Jordan pick his own topic. So Jordan picked.
I picked toys, but specifically, they're supposed to be toys, and in one example, I guess technically a board game, but mostly toys that were originally, like they were a toy line first.
That makes sense.
Before they were a show. Whereas in examples of like Toy Story, for example, the movie came first, and then there were toys based off the movie.
It's true. What he said is technically true. I picked puppets. So I got the Muppets. I got some stuff that's not the Muppets, but it's mostly the Muppets.
But mostly the
It's
Muppets.
like 90%
Muppets. You just wanted to watch the Muppets.
I want to watch a lot of Muppets.
So I guess I will start and go first.
He's gonna light this candle. Let's light this candle.
So the first thing that I watched as a rapid fire was Masters of the Universe, the 1987 film, which, as an aside, I didn't really grow up with Masters of the Universe, He-Man, and all of them, so I hear myself.
Sorry. Okay, I just want to make sure that our sound was working. Okay, sorry, Masters of the Universe, the movie. Yes, I've never seen it.
Masters of the Universe, 1987 film.
Dolph Lundgren as He-Man.
Yes, Dolph Lundgren. Also, it has Courtney Cox in it. Monica from Friends. And she's supposed to be like, I think like a high school senior or something. And whenever that happens, I'm always like, man, they're babies here.
They're the babies.
But as I was watching this movie, I sort of became aware that I don't actually know that much about He-Man. I know that he's like,
and he says, "I have the power."
And there's a skeleton guy that he fights against.
And he fights a skeleton guy
who has become a meme.
He has become mean.
He's just become that guy who pops up on my TikTok now again and is like, remember, da 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 da, and then he has a funny remember one-liner thing, and then he's like, until we meet again, and then he runs off down the tracks.
I do recall.
That's what I kind of. That's my most extensive knowledge of what Skeletor is. So you can imagine my surprise when I see him in this movie and he looks horrifying and vaguely like Red Skull, except not red. Which makes sense because they're
off?
No, they're both. I mean, Skeletor is a skeleton man, so he's supposed to be. The reason why he looks as upsetting as he does is because he's supposed to be a skeleton face. Right, like that's what Skeletor. That's why. I mean, you saw the little clips I sent you. He looks vaguely like Red Skull because Red Skull is also, supposed to be a Red Skull.
Supposed to be a scary skeleton man.
So he kind of just looks like an '80s version of Red Skull who is not red. Is kind of what Skeletor looks like. But my thing was that, which I found funny, and this is where I don't know. I don't know if Skeletor has like an evil army of guys who look like Darth Vader.
No, he does not.
But in this movie, his evil army of stormtroopers sure look like Darth Vader.
Unless he does, I'm completely wrong. I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
I don't know if he does. I just know that in this, he's competent and like is about to win, and then ultimately is stopped in an 80s style movie format, a fantasy 80s style format. But
hijinks.
I guess my ultimate thing with this movie is there's a number of characters where it's like I feel like they're characters that are probably in the show, but I don't know enough about the original source material to know if they're done poorly. I feel like they are. It feels like this was a bad adaptation. But I don't actually know, and I can't be bothered to find
characters.
What?
Name one of the characters.
He-Man.
No, besides He-Man.
Oh, Skeletor.
No, I mean one of the characters that you're like, I'm pretty sure this is from the show, but I don't know.
Oh, okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to actually look at some of these names.
Dang it, Jordan! You're supposed to be prepared.
Sorceress. Evelyn.
Yeah, Evil Lynn.
Tila.
Tila definitely.
Man-at-Arms.
Yeah, he definitely is.
Wildor.
I don't know about him.
Blade.
I don't know about him.
Beast Man.
I mean, yes, he is. The Tiger.
Pig Boy.
The Evelina, she's the main bad guy in the new one.
Narrator.
Oh yeah, definitely narrator. For sure.
I knew it. But yeah, no. Master of the Universe toy line was started in 1982. That's the background that you're getting for the original source material. I'm going to try and do that for most of these, but so yeah, this came out 5 years after the toy line came out.
And it did poorly.
Yeah. From what I was reading, it was a critical and commercial failure.
Yup, because it didn't look enough like the cartoon.
So yeah, I don't really have much more to say about it. It was fine.
It was fun.
Like, as a person who doesn't know Masters of the Universe, it wasn't the worst movie I watched this week.
Could be worse, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like my next one, but that comes later.
All right. So my first one is a television show, Canadian television show about puppets who
In
kill.
space.
What?
Oh, I see.
Oh, what?
What?
Puppets who kill.
Dun 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 dun.
So the
dun,
premise of
dun.
this show is it's about five puppets. The Cuddles is a comfort doll who snapped. There's Buttons, the bear, who is a sexual deviant who had a lucrative contract with as a mascot for some company, and he violated it. And then you've got Bill, who's a ventriloquist dummy whose last 20 partners all disappeared under mysterious circumstances. And then you've got Rocco, a dog puppet from a children's television show who snapped and who chain smokes. And the show is basically a varying degrees of shenanigans that the puppets get up to, usually trying to get in and out of a crime, or doing a crime, or getting busted doing a crime. There's a human character who runs the halfway house named Dan, and he is often the victim of their shenanigans. There's one episode where the bear seduces him into bed. The bear is very confusing because he has sex with copious amounts of women, and he doesn't appear to have genitals. I don't really know how it works.
So you're saying he was Ted before Ted was a thing?
Yeah, that's how I would describe it.
They just sort of trib. They trib each other. They just grind their parts together.
I suppose, yeah.
Like a lesbian. You ask how he has sex. How do lesbians have sex, Justin? Just have that mental image in your head.
No, that's true. I guess it's just fuzz rubbing on parts, I guess. That doesn't make a certain sense. And
or Justin, much like women, there are alternatives.
Yeah. This show, it's actually kind of a funny show. It's Canadian. It's full bore Canadian. It takes place in Canada. It takes place in Toronto. And there's a number of episodes where they go to court, and it's very much the Canadian legal system. So, like, the prosecution, they're dressed in, like, formal robes, because that's how lawyers work in Canada.
It's not your honor, it's your eminence.
Yeah, and they're wearing powdered wigs. It's very silly. Some of it's legit funny. There's a really funny episode where the Buttons, the baby, there's one of them's a baby. And yeah, he's the one he's a comfort doll for people in a hospital, and they called him Rooster, and he didn't like it. And his character is like he's asexual, and he's like kind of monotone kind of character. And yeah, there's one episode where you can see Dan convinces him to go to confront this guy who called him Rooster, because he's like, oh, you have to confront the things that upset you. And so he goes to be like, I forgive you. And the guy's like, I only called you Rooster because I saw that you were pure and good of heart, and I needed to tear you down to make you feel like me because I feel small and insignificant. And he's like, oh, that's okay. I forgive you. I forgive you for everything. He's like, hug. And then he goes to hug him, and the guy trips, and he accidentally stabs him. And he's like, no, I didn't mean to do it. It's like, oh, I knew this was all a ruse, rooster. And he tries to run away, and it ends up escalating. So he's like at the top of a tower with his sniper rifle. And in the meantime, Dan is part of a B plot where the bear, the ventriloquist dummy, and Rocco, they're all trying to get Raptors tickets, like Toronto Raptors, the basketball team.
Yeah.
They're trying to get tickets out of him. So the bear seduces him, and so he gets distracted away. And then the B plot kind of resolves itself, and it cuts. I guess that's the A plot. And it cuts, and now Buttons is on top of a tower with his sniper rifle. And he hears him on the news, and he's like, huh, that's weird. He's like, oh, crap, Bubbles! And he runs, and he gets him off of the tower. And it all resolves safely. No, he ends up killing a cop. Or there's another episode where Bill... I can't remember what the B plot... The B plot involves the bear seducing somebody. Or A plot. And in the background, you keep seeing these news reports of this murderer who's been stealing people's testicles. Like cutting off their balls. And the whole thing is like, it could be anyone we know. It could be anyone we know. And every once in a while, you see Bill, the ventriloquist dummy coming late in at night. And he's like, where have you been? He's like, nowhere. And then and eventually gets to about midway through the episode. And they start to suspect him. And he's got this locked closet. He's like, no one's allowed to go in the closet. And it's a funny joke because you think that the subversion is going to be that it's not him, but then at the end, it does turn. He's the testicle stealer, and they open up the closet. And he's got all these jars of testicles just in the closet. It's very silly. It's a very silly show, but it's funny, and it's nice to have something that's Canadian, and it's on YouTube. You should totally check it out. It's really good. That's Puppets Who Kill. I feel like you had questions about Puppets Who Kill.
How much killing do the puppets do?
Quite a bit.
Is it like one death per episode, several deaths per episode? What's the ratio here?
I mean, it's once every couple episodes. There's at least one person that goes. Actually, that's what I wanted to be like. That was gonna be my running through line. Was gonna be the puppetry is surprisingly good. They're all very believable. The ventriloquist and the dummy of the ventriloquist dummy is quite good. Like they do stuff like they have him lean against walls, and like the dog puppet is smoking real cigarettes. And every episode ends with a blooper reel, so you get to kind of see how the puppetry worked. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is impressive. It's also based off of a guy's stand-up act, which has happened a lot this week. You can actually find old clips of it. Do you not remember Puppets Who Kill?
I have a vague memory of the dog, but the rest of them not really.
Yeah, it used to be on Comedy Network. So every episode on YouTube, all of it's on YouTube, all on the Puppets Who Kill YouTube channel. But it all starts
with interesting.
Every episode starts with the Comedy Network logo. You remember the Comedy Network logo?
There was a lot of Comedy Network logos.
Yeah, it's the one where it's all the bacteria and whatever. Anyway, sorry, that was Puppets Who Kill. It was funny. I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Well. So, whoops. Nope, that's bad. Sorry.
Dang it, Jordan.
My next one was a little movie called Robo Sapien Rebooted, which was based on the Robo Sapien toy. Which the Robo Sapien toy,
I would say
movie came out
loosely based on the Robo Sapien toy.
Yeah,
based on 5 minutes of it I saw.
The movie came out in 2013. The toy came out in 2004.
Yeah, I barely know what the toy is.
It's just one of those ones which I remember seeing in the store and being like, that looks kind of cool. I'm too old for toys, but it looks cool.
Pretty much.
And so in the movie, they create the Robo Sapien to basically do search and rescue, and then of course the big guy who's like in charge of all the people is like, well, actually we should sell it as a weapon.
Of course.
We'd make more money that way because this thing is basically like sentient and can be really smart. And the creator of him is like, no, I created him to be like a search and rescue, like to help people. And then he runs away, and he takes the Robo Sapien with him. And then the Robo Sapien ends up losing his memory and gets found by this kid who's good with technology, but the Robo Sapien doesn't remember any of the stuff or how he ended up in the dumpster. And so the kid takes him home and names him Cody. And then they become friends, and he becomes friends with the family. But then the bad guy is trying to find him and take him away, and he ends up remembering who he is. And at the end of it, the creator of him and the mom end up together, and they live as one big happy family.
And everyone becomes friends. The
And also,
end.
there's a few points where the Robo Sapien, like there's this whole part where he's like playing Simon Says with the kid, and I'm like, this is clearly a function that the toy has.
Yeah.
Like clearly the toy can do Simon Says, and like this is a callback to that. And I was reading about it, and yeah, apparently, because the big thing about the Robo Sapien in the movie is like he's programmable and yada yada yada. And yeah, the toy, you could apparently program it to do 25 different actions. There was like a remote which you could use to control it. So I was like, yeah, there's a lot of... This movie had a number of callbacks to what the toy could do. But it as a movie apparently exists because of the popularity and success of the Transformers movie, the Michael Bay one.
Yeah, no shit.
And the Bratz movie, apparently.
Yeah, the Bratz movie. Yeah. Stupid popular. Stupid successful.
Which is, it pushed the, we can make movies about toys
Pretty
angle.
much.
And then this monstrosity came into existence.
So you're saying it's a bad movie?
I'm saying it's a basic bitch movie. It is. I mean, yeah, you've seen it. You've seen the movie where futuristic robot. That's not even talking about the quality of the animation of the robot. I'm purely talking about from a writing standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
Where you've seen this movie dozens of times, where little creature, whether it be robot or thing,
the big
has to
come and take it away. Yeah, I know. I've seen it. Times. I grew up in the '90s. Of course, I've seen it 1,000 times.
And so it's like, I don't know, it's not the worst movie, except for the animation. The animation was very cheap.
It looked cheap as shit.
Then again, two of the ones that I watched this week, which I'm lumping together as one thing, the animation is pretty rickety in those as well, so. But that's the Robo Sapien rebooted. There's really not much more to say about this. I'm just looking at the cast list and seeing if there's even anybody interesting that's in it. I mean, the most interesting name is Billy Slaughter.
Slaughter.
But other than that, not really.
How do you know his name's not Billy's Laughter?
I mean, could be.
His name could be Billy's Laughter. You don't know. Don't judge him.
I really don't. I just know that WowWee is the name of the toy company that makes Robo Sapien, and I'm just like, that's a funny name.
That is a funny name. I mean, that's how.
WowWee.
How else do you describe Robo Sapien other than WowWee? Wow.
Wowie zowie.
Wowie zowie. So I couldn't talk about puppets, right? And not talk about one of my all-time favorite stand-up comedians, who just so happens to be a puppet, Mr. Randy Feltface. And it was really funny because before I get into what I'm
not for your fucking kids.
Not for your fucking kids. Me and Jordan have seen, full disclosure, we've been to see Randy twice. I would qualify live both times. The show was good, the venue not so much, but the show was good and he's funny. He is one of the most talented stand-up comedians I have ever seen. One of the most talented performers. His crowd work is phenomenal. And I said it's funny because when we went to see him the second time, I said this to someone we were standing in line with. I said, he just so happens to be a puppet. Like, he will occasionally make fourth wall breaking jokes about how he can't see shit, but like, for the most part, the fact that he's a puppet doesn't really have much to do with his show, and that's what part of what makes him funny. He's just I am a fan of smartly written, well written material, and he just has exceptionally well written material. So he made a show. He used to be part of a duo called Sammy J and Randy. And so they made a show called Sammy J and Randy in Ricketts Lane. Into the trailer. And Sammy J and Randy in Ricketts Lane is based on their like first not stand-up show that they did, which had a similar name. And so it takes a lot of jokes and songs that from other specials. So like, or other specials maybe took songs from this. So like, you know the Census song that they sing? You've seen Sammy J and Randy live, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. You know the Census song?
Not live, but
the special, the Sammy J and Randy live.
I think I watched one that was on YouTube, and I think that was it.
That's one where it starts with him, the guy coming out dressed up as him. It's like, instead of calling...
Yeah.
That song's from this crop of stuff. Same with Subwoofer. Like a lot of stuff from that first album comes from this show. And some of the songs, that's one of the things that I will give them credit. I should be clear. They're also Sammy J and Randy are an Australian comedy duo, one of which is a puppet, one of which is a tall, thin man, and yeah, they're a musical comedy duo. And so this show is the plot of this show is they live together. Sammy is a lawyer working for a firm who has a shitty boss who treats him like crap, but he's hilarious. He's really funny. He's got a really funny accent. Randy is recently divorced from his wife, who his name is escaping me, but she works. She has a TV show, so she's like a famous show host, and the whole bit is she decides whether or not to give things a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And Randy has moved in temporarily with Sammy in a bid to try and win her back, but has stayed for like multiple months. And so it's a 6-episode show, and it's kind of serialized, and the basic arc of it is it's Sammy J's trying to succeed at work, and his boss keeps dumping on him. His assistant is in love with him. Randy is trying to win back the wife, who has a secret boyfriend who is the boss. And so Randy is trying to like win her back while also screwing over Sammy. So their kind of relationship is that he's the he constantly screws over Sammy. So there's one bit where there's one episode where he's trying to get unemployment benefits, but he ends up shit talking the unemployment office to one of the employees who he mistakes as a person in line. He gives him advice. He's like, yeah, this is what I do. They're total morons. Like, they'll fall for anything. You can do this. And so he ends up having to get a job. And so he gets a job at Sammy J's law firm because Sammy J's boss has said that he's going to replace Sammy J, get rid of his job, and hire someone else. So Randy shows up and sucks up to Sammy J's boss. He's like, yeah, I'll suck up to him. I'll get in good. And then at the end of the week, I'll quit. You keep your job, and then I'll give you all this information. And so then it turns out that, or he goes to Randy, and he's like, yeah, your ex-wife will be happy because, you know, you're fully adjusted, you have a job, you're doing okay. And so then he decides to screw over Sammy J and get him fired. He's like, I thought you said you were on my side. He's like, I lied. And it's really funny because I was like a fan of theirs. There's an episode this is kind of the first time I've seen a show that's based on stand-up where I saw the stand-up first. And so there's an episode where it's based on their special Bin Night, which came well before this. And it was like their first film special. And it's literally the music and dialogue and plot of that special, but in this episode. But now it's in an actual house as opposed to just a set. And it's the plot of it is that, they end up scouting out their garbage bin because someone keeps trying to put extra garbage in their garbage bin, and they're getting in trouble for it. So they end up staying up all night, like staking it out, and then they're making a souffle at the same time, and he ends up locking himself out. And that happens in the episode. That's what the episode's about. Except for in the episode, the difference is it's Randy making the souffle to try to win back the ex-wife. There's also this really weird running bit where they're obsessed with ham and cheese picadas. Like it's a type of sandwich. So by the end of this show, it becomes weirdly like all of a sudden ham and cheese picadas are now super popular. Also, like I never really needed to see Randy's penis, but I've seen it now.
I'm not going to address that.
I was half expecting you to be like, wait, what?
I'm not currently equipped to deal with this information, so I'm going to largely just ignore it and move on with my day.
There's a part in an episode.
Nope. See, you're addressing it. You're doing the thing that I directly said we weren't going to do.
Where Sammy J walks in.
We're on YouTube.
And Randy's not wearing any pants, and yeah, nice full bore Winnie the Pooh in it, Jordan. Full bore Winnie the Pooh in it, and you see his junk.
Right. Okay.
You see his puppety
I
penis.
understand. Nope. Yeah, you keep saying it.
It's a large puppety
You need
penis.
to stop. Oh, nope, you just nix.
And it's very weird. It's a very weird moment. And I was like, whoa, yep, that's it. That's his penis. I'm looking right at his penis.
You continue to talk about it.
Because it's funny.
No.
Anyway,
no, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm not. It's on Apple TV. It's actually, I was really surprised by how good it is. Another thing that I found funny before I wrap up, Sammy J and Randy and Ricketts Lane, and this is gonna mean nothing to you, but I've sort of developed the theory that all Australian comedians know each other because I've mentioned it, referenced it before, but I listen to a podcast called The Weekly Planet, and they are Australian comedians, and they are friends with a Australian comedy group called Auntie Donna. And one of the guys from Auntie Donna randomly showed up on the show. And I was like, hey, is that Brody from Auntie Donna? And I googled it. That is Brody from Auntie Donna. Oh, they know Auntie Donna? Weird. That's weird. That was weird. Auntie Donna, as an aside, has one of my all-time favorite sketches of all time, which is the guy who can't wait to make that one joke he gets to make every year, which is bloody I'll see you. I'll see you next year. I'm gonna bloody we'll see you next year. You know, at the end of the year, where you'd be like, "Oh, I'll see you next year."
That joke. Yes.
It's really funny. I'll send it to you later. It's really funny.
I'll see you next year.
I'm bloody see you next year. It's really funny.
Bloody see you next year.
That's Sammy J and Sammy J and Randy and Ricketts Lane. One of my all-time favorite. I've become a real fan of his over the years. Real fan. I just happened to discover him accidentally. It was just a complete accident how I discovered him. I
know him because of you. I blame you.
I know. It's good. I've seen all of his specials and they're all good. If just as a unrelated recommendation, if you've never seen Randy Writes a Novel, you should go check out Randy Writes a Novel. It is really good. It's my favorite of his specials. Next.
I defy you to name one blue food.
Blueberries.
Blueberries are fucking purple!
Next.
Great. Okay, so, where, I'm just...
I don't think that's what it's called, Jordan.
Saying. Go back in time to 2001 is when it looks like the first one came out. Do you remember a very popular Lego thing that came out at the time called Bionicle?
The Mask of Matanuity?
Bionicle. Just generally.
The something of Matt Newey?
Just generally. Do you remember Bionicle?
I mean, I remember there's something called Matt Newey.
Matt Newey is the island they live on.
Then yes, I do.
Bionicle. So okay, I watched two Bionicle movies because they were both so short. So I felt like I had to. One which I had seen, and I thought I had seen two, but as I was watching it, I kind of became aware that I don't think I ever did.
Where?
So, Bionicle, the first movie, is called The Mask of Light. It's based on the latter half. As an aside, Bionicle, as far as I could tell in terms of Lego, was the apparently Word 789 remembers Bionicle. But it was as far as I've read, first time Lego did like a storyline with their toy line.
Really?
Yeah. And it apparently Bionicle has a fascinating history. I was just reading it a little bit about it, but apparently Lego was suffering a decade-long downturn in the 1990s, and then yeah, they came in the plastic tubes. Yeah, they absolutely did. But
sorry.
yeah, the Lego.
I just saw Haley be like, "Stop! This is YouTube."
Yeah. Yeah, no, they tried to go forward with a theme where they could have a storyline behind it because they thought it would appeal more to customers, because selling just the toy, like the things you can build that are just things you can build, just wasn't selling.
Yeah, Bionicle was Lego, but cool. And also, I mean,
apparently,
Lego.
Apparently, their first attempt to do a storyline with their Legos and stuff was with Star Wars.
That makes sense.
But the royalty payments to Lucasfilms made it so that they didn't make as much money as they wanted to make, and thus their own story-driven themes came into existence, which was
thus the Powerpuff Bionicle Girls were born.
Kind of, yeah, basically. Apparently, Bionicle originated from the idea of a co-creator who made Cybots, which were action figures, with attachable limbs and ball and socket joints, which is what Bionicles are. Is they're fully articulated, where you can move them, and they have the balls and stuff. But they were also Lego, so you had to put them together. It was brilliant. But to move away from the toy line itself and talk about the movies, apparently Mask of Light is based on the latter, like the second half of the original storyline. So in it, the two little smaller robot characters come across the Mask of Light, and then over the course of the movie, they're looking for the person who is destined to put on the Mask of Light and become the Toa of Light. The Toa are the bigger robot guys.
You think it's gonna be the main character, and not the sassy best friend. Then big twist, spoiler alert: the main character dies, and the sassy best friend becomes the Mask of Light guy.
Yep. But along the way, they have to go through the different biomes of Matanui. I can never pronounce it. And you get to see all the different ones that you know from the toy line. So there's the fire one, the ice one, the wind one, the earth one, and the rest.
And then you see all the toys, and then the movie's like, buy the toys!
They're all the things that you know. No, Justin, those toys already exist. You're seeing them, and you could have already had them. And I definitely, there was a few where it's like, I saw them, like the fire one.
I had that
one. And like, I'm pretty sure I had the fire one, or I had a friend who had the fire one. Yeah, Matanui. I had a friend who had the fire one, because I remember it had like a thing on the back, and you'd spin it, and the thing would like do the attack thing and spin back and forth. And so it's like, I remembered a bunch of them, but I remember my first, the thing my first interaction with Bionicle was that Flash game that was on I think it was on Addicting Games or something.
The shitty one that had a frame rate of like 2 frames per second.
I can't speak to that. My memory of it was that it was better than it probably was, but it was a point-and-click story adventure.
I remember being laggy as fuck. That's all I remember.
Well, no, to be fair, though, let's be fair. Was that the game, or was that our early 2000s computer internet, which probably wasn't good enough to play the quality of game that was being presented
Both.
on the internet.
Both.
Um,
Both.
Apparently the DVD came with a toy.
Both.
Didn't know that. Maybe that's why I had a toy. I don't know. But
Both.
Mask of Light, yeah. So then we move on to yeah, I mean, so the way this thing ends is pretty much how you expect. He goes up against the evil Shadow Mask guy and wins.
Yep. Good guys win, bad guys lose.
Good guys win, bad guys lose. It's not a very long
They
movie.
made a
It's like
sequel.
hour 10. Well, no, they didn't. Because the second one, Bionicle 2, Legends of Metro Nui, which, nope, they changed the name. It's Metro Nui now.
Oh, all right.
Literally on the thing, because, and the reason why that this is there is a story reason. This is a prequel.
Oh, no, I understand.
So this actually takes place before, and so I guess this is supposed to be based on the first half or the earlier part of the toy line story.
I understand.
So the second one is about how, you know, all the, like, the fire guy, the water guy, the ones that I said that you see in the second one.
Yes.
This is about them and how they get their powers.
I mean, it did.
Yes,
It did.
that is true. It absolutely did. But for those who are audioing and don't know what was said, I guess we should say, Word 789 says Bionicle saved Lego as a company, and yes, they absolutely did.
It saved Lego as a company.
But yeah, no, and so in this one, it also explains, you know, I mean, you probably don't remember, but in the first one, there's the elders of each of the villages.
Yeah.
They are the people in this one who had the power, who gave up the power so that the next generation could get the power, and then they turn into the elders
Like
that you see
in the first one.
Yes, absolutely, it should have, because it has everything up to and including the fact that you see the wisecracking guy who becomes the Mask of Light in the first one at the end of this one, and you also see so one of the guys in this movie dies, I guess. I have to be honest, I got bored at a couple points and was looking at my phone, and things happened so fast, so I had to go backtrack a couple times. But at the end, you know, the guy in the first one who dies and then gets brought back, and he's the stoic main character for most of the film.
Yes.
At the end of the second one, there's like a because the point is that the heroes have to give up their power so all the little people can come to life, and then the island that they end up on is Matanui, the place that exists in the first one.
Gotcha.
But like the world that they're currently living in the second one, in the prequel, is like a advanced technology, and like their leader guy ends up betraying them to the shadow powers, and he becomes the shadow guy that's in the second one. And it really is that, like, yeah, this one, if I'm recommending to anybody, they should watch this one and then the first one, because really this one should be first. Also, apparently, I was reading a little bit, and I guess the third one also is a prequel. Like, it also takes place before the first one. So I don't know if there ever actually is one that takes place after the end of what was the first one. Because I'm pretty sure the fourth one is where they try to reboot it.
Gotcha. Jordan! Is that it?
Also, Miramax.
Yes.
Is that a famous company?
Yes, it is.
Okay, because they make this.
Alright.
What else do they make? You talk, and I want to read. Oh, interesting. They were acquired by Walt Disney Company.
Yes, they were.
Hmm.
Jordan, is that it? Is that it for?
Yeah, that's 2 Bionicles and a little bit of history about the, you know, the actual them Bionicles.
My next, it's all Muppets. It's all Muppets for the next little while. And there's just one thing that's not Muppets sandwiched in the middle there. but it's Muppets. It's gonna be Muppets. Starting with, in no particular order, Muppets 2011. Now, the big thing with Muppets 2011 was this was coming at kind of a lull in the Muppets history, where they hadn't done a movie in quite a number of years. They were kind of floundering in Disney. Disney didn't really know what to do with them. And this is kind of a thing with the Muppets generally, is they kind of have an identity crisis because they've largely culturally be understood to be a thing for children, but their creators and their origins are not for children. The very first thing to have the Muppets in it was a special called Muppets Sex and Violence. They were at one point unsuccessfully on Saturday Night Live, so they are not inherently for children. Yeah, Miramax did Tarantino movies. They also made a lot of the Kevin Smith movies as well. That was words.
I thought they were from Kevin Smith. That's why it was standing out in my brain. That makes sense.
So yeah, so Muppets 2011 was a sort of a resurgence, and so that's kind of what this movie is about. Ricky Gervais' Muppets is the second one. We'll talk about why I think that one failed. So a big thing about this one is playing on the nostalgia for the Muppets as a franchise. That's what it's about. It's a movie about re-bringing the Muppets together. So the main character is a new Muppet. He's not a Muppet. So this is where they sort of establish that Muppet is not a thing that you are. So like Kermit isn't a Muppet. Kermit is a Muppet, but he's a frog. Like Muppet is not a species, if that makes any sense. So like, but Fozzie is a bear. So within the universe of the Muppets, there's sort of like multiple continuities. Yeah, within the Muppets, there's the Muppets in the real world, Kermit, Fozzie, whatever, where they're puppets and they're not real. And then there's Kermit and Fozzie in the real world, where they exist in the real world as actors and performers and people who act and perform in movies. And then there's the characters.
I don't know what you're talking about. There is no other world where they're puppets. They exist in the world and they're actors. That's as far as it goes. What do you?
Right. Yeah, no.
What are you?
Not breaking the illusion. We will be breaking the illusion. So that's the big thing with this one. So there's a character named Walter, and he's a new Muppet, and he is a massive fan of the Muppets. I thought they were all Muppets. They are technically speaking, this is where we're going to get real in the weeds when we get to Sesame Street later. But technically speaking, the Sesame Street characters aren't Muppets. They are Muppets in terms of they exist under the brand of Muppets, but within the universe of the Muppets, they're not technically part of the troupe. In fact, there's multiple episodes of the Muppet Show where, like, there's one episode early on where Bert and Ernie show up and they're on the Muppet Show as the stars of Sesame Street.
Huh.
So they're there promoting Sesame Street. So they're not technically, they are within the functionality of Muppets. Are Muppets
in our world? They are functionally Muppets. In their world, they are not part of the troupe, the Muppets.
Exactly. And so this movie is about Walter, who is a huge fan of the Muppets. He grew up watching them and he identified with them, absolutely saw himself in them. And his brother is Jason Segel, and they go to Hollywood. He tags along, or Jason Segel invites him to go on this anniversary trip with him and Amy Adams, Mary, and they wind up discovering that an evil oil baron, played by Chris Cooper, has bought the Muppet Studio and is looking to dig for oil underneath the Muppet Studio. And so Walter finds Jason Segel and Amy Adams find Kermit, and they must go out and find the Muppets and bring the Muppets back together. And this show ultimately is about finding things to love about things we don't like and being critical of the things we do like. So I love this movie. I got emotional the first time I watched it. I still enjoy. When he sings words in my head, it gets emotional. The ending gets emotional.
It's got a very firm place in my heart, and there's references to like the original Muppet movie, where it's like, for example, the part where they're reading his standard rich and famous contract.
Yeah, the standard rich and famous contract. Yeah. Chris Cooper, the guy playing the bad guy, he has that musical number where he's having just an absolute fucking ball. He's having so much fun. There's just certain people when they act in Muppet movies. We're going to talk about Mandy Patinkin later, but where they're like, they're like, I'm gonna take this 1,000% seriously, like your Michael Caine's, where you're like, I'm gonna take this 100% seriously, and they are real to me. But Jason Segel really wanted to make this movie. That's the number one thing about it. When I was reading about it, he's been trying to make it for like, at the time he had been trying to make it for like 10 years. He'd gone to Disney and like begged him to let them. They finally said yes. And like, so he co-wrote it. He co-wrote it with Nicholas Stoller, who is he's Seth Rogen's writing partner. So he wrote like Neighbors and a bunch of those movies. And so my main criticism of this movie is it feels like two movies at points, where it's like, it feels like it, because for random parts of the movie, Walter and Jason Segel just kind of disappear. They're just kind of not there. They're just kind of gone. Like Walter in particular, he isn't in like half the climax. He freaks out, runs through a wall, and then he's just gone for most of the climax of the movie. Jason Segel, he sings "A Man or a Muppet," and then he disappears. And like for random periods of a time, it's Kermit's movie. And Kermit and Piggy kind of have this really, what I would characterize as like rushed storyline. So it just kind of reads and comes across like it was written by two people, which I guess because I've done this enough now, I can kind of see it, where it seems like it's like two movies, two identities fighting for each other. It's either a movie about basically about Kermit, and it's pictures in my head, and it's his regrets about letting the Muppets fall apart, and because there's this subplot about him and Piggy. And he has this line where he's like, "This is why I have to hurt you, Piggy." You know, that scene where it's him and he's wearing the weird sweater and they're walking down the street having that really serious conversation. That's like from a completely different movie. And so this movie feels like at one point it was that. It was just Kermit. Like Walter didn't exist. Jason Segel wasn't there. And it was just about Kermit getting the Muppets back together. And then later on, Jason Segel came in and did like 2 or 3 rewrites and added himself in, added Amy Adams in, and then added Walter in. Because, yeah, they feel added in. That's my criticism. Otherwise, it's very funny. I forgot about racist Fozzie. I mentioned it.
Waka waka.
There's a character called the Muppets, who are a knockoff tribute band, Vegas style tribute band that have hired Fozzie to sing for them, and they're really funny because none of them really look like the Muppets, except for the one they get for Fozzie, who is just clearly, like, in terms of the external, a Fozzie puppet that they've put chains and a toque on, and he's like, it's literally that bit from Family Guy with the wrong sounding Muppets where he's like, waka waka mother, like he's just like, it's really bad. What else? Uncle Deadly. So ultimately, to wrap this up, this obviously got made into a sequel, which we'll talk about one day, but that sequel bombed horribly, and nobody could really figure out why, because they're like, hey, it's just as good as, it's just as funny and smart and clever as the first one, but I think that one doesn't do as well because it's more like a traditional Muppet movie, whereas this is like based on nostalgia and sincerity. And I think maybe if they had kept ironically, as much as I've kind of made fun of him, I think if they had kept him in this, it would have done better. The sequel would have done better. It would have, like, if they'd kept that, like, it's about the Muppets and not just like because I was listening to the soundtrack of that second one, and like the opening song of that movie is really, really funny, and the first movie is at its funniest when it's really self-referential, like, and I think if they had kept that tone of being self-referential, I think that second movie probably would have done better.
I don't know. I mean, I definitely, the first one definitely played on nostalgia, and I just don't know that you're going to get that same effect with a sequel, no matter what.
I think if you had done it, because that one goes back to, okay, Kermit's once again the main character. I think if they had maintained and let it be about, because Walter is kind of a character in that second movie, but not really, but made it about, okay, Walter now is part of the Muppets. He's part of the troupe. He has to learn how to blend in, and he has to learn how to fit in. Make it. Let us see it through him. I think it would have been more.
Yeah, my thing with the second one. So there's a few things that I would have. Okay, if I'm if I'm able to have complete creative control over how I would have changed it, yeah, I would have made it instead of sliding Walter into the background and having him basically be a secondary or tertiary character, I definitely still would have kept him. I would have essentially for the new trilogy had him be our main character forever going forward.
Yeah.
And instead of doing a world tour, again, if I'm able to completely change it and do whatever I want with it, I would have had it be where like they want to make a movie, like they want to make another. They want to make another movie, and then in that you can have a lot of references to their previous movies and be like, well, this is what we did in this one, and this is what we did in this one, and that way you can have self-referential things to their past stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe have a scene where like Kermit walks out in the pirate outfit from Muppet Treasure Island, or like you can reference the previous things.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done, and then you have it be from Walter's perspective of like he's never been in a movie, he has no idea what to do or where to stand or how to act or stuff like that.
And also, I believe it's technically the only Muppet movie to win an Oscar. Was there anything else? I feel like there was something else. Nope, I don't remember. I think anything else has to do with other stuff. So that's it. That's the Muppets 2011. I like that movie.
I also like that movie, but my next thing. So it's another example of a thing where culturally I'm aware of it. It was a thing that I knew of, but I wasn't really a fan of it growing up. And that's G.I. Joe the movie.
I feel like if you're not American, you're not going to be into G.I. Joe as much as if you're American.
I mean, I don't know. It's not really... I mean, I definitely see the American influence, but they're more just soldiers.
Yeah.
Like, it's... I could see how you would... Like, how you could it as a...
Like, back in the day, you kind of went one of two roads. You either went Transformers or G.I. Joe. And as a Transformers, I never understood why you would go G.I. Joe.
So what's funny is watching this movie, which, as an aside, let's play a fun game. Do you know whether or not it was a theatrical release, or was it a straight direct-to-DVD?
I do know. I believe it did go to theaters. I believe that was a theater.
It did not.
Really? Oh, no, wait, no, that you said that. I believe, that you said, I think it was going to go to theaters.
It was going to.
And then the Transformers movie bombed, and then they pulled it at the last
Nope, that's not true. It was intended to be a theatrical release, and Transformers was supposed to follow it. Huh. So it was supposed to come out first, but due to production delays, Transformers came out first, and then Transformers did poorly. Yeah. And then that's what made this. Transformers and My Little Pony the movie, funny enough, did poorly, and that's why this became a direct-to-video.
That wasn't wrong.
Also, I mean, you were wrong. It was not a theatrical release.
No, I said no. It got pulled because Transformers did poorly.
Well, I mean, but you said that it was. You were technically wrong because it wasn't supposed to follow the Transformers, so Transformers not bombing was not necessarily the reason.
No, but if Transformers had done well, it would have just gone out after Transformers.
Anyways, not the point. The other thing that changed because of Transformers, and you can guess this, is there's a point near the end of the movie where the main Joe, the guy who's like the main one, the Optimus Joe. I could tell you. Hold on.
I always want to say Hawk, but I know that's not right. But yes, the other bit of trivia about this is
Hawk is the junior guy who comes in this one.
They were originally going to kill him off, and then they killed off Optimus in the Transformers movie. Duke, that was it. They were originally going to kill off Duke, and then the Transformers movie came out, and they killed off Optimus Prime. People were really upset. They sent them literal hate mail, and so they changed their mind last second. So in the movie,
instead he was put into a coma, and then at the end of the movie, at the very end, in a dub over dialogue thing, you hear one of the guys say, he's waking up from his coma, they say he's gonna be fine, and I'm like, this is...
They changed it with like literal last minute. Yeah, they went in and they completely changed. Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those things where
it's really obvious when you watch.
Like basically, if you mute the dial, like if you mute it and just watch what's visually on the screen, yeah, you can absolutely tell that he was supposed to die there. But this movie was interesting to me because, like I said, I only have a very tertiary understanding or knowledge of G.I. Joe. So I know Cobra Commander to be the leader. Like, that was always my understanding.
That's what I always thought.
He's the guy in charge. But in this movie, he's not. The guy in charge was Serpentor.
Senior Stevenson.
Serpentor, who apparently comes from the show, the second season of the show. So the first season, Cobra Commander is in charge, but he bungles so much that one of the villain dudes, who's part of his team, who is a scientist, uses the genetic DNA of like the world's greatest leaders, which I'd have to go to Serpentor's wiki to tell you all of them. But like Ivan the Terrible, others, and genetically creates Serpentor. And then Serpentor becomes the leader of the Cobra team. And so this movie is a sequel to that show, which is why he's the leader in this one.
I understand.
And then in this movie, you find out that he's actually from like a secret race of like lizard people.
He's literally a snake person. Yeah, that was a big twist.
Cobra Commander also came from them, and then those snake people are upset with how bad Cobra Commander has done, and so they hit him with this like degenerative like stuff, which slowly turns him back into a literal snake person to the point where like he's angry with the Cobra people and like helps the one Joe dude to escape. And he devolves to the point where, like, all he says is, I was human once, or I used to be human. And he just keeps saying that, I was a man once. Yeah, it's I would have been upset if I had watched this in theaters.
All right.
If I had paid theater prices
to be fair,
and watched this
back in the 80s were substantially different back in the day.
But see, it's funny because I don't know. Maybe maybe people who actually like or know have a care for G.I. Joe will have a different opinion. But the Transformers one just felt like there was more to it.
Yeah.
More depth.
Fair enough.
I don't know, but maybe that's because I like Transformers and I grew up with it, right? Maybe if I had grown up with G.I. Joe, I would be saying the same thing about this one. I really can't say. But
that's hard. Yeah, that's fair.
You know, it's definitely it's funny because it's got like a lot of one-liners. They've got this one guy who like talks in rhymes, where he's like. I can't even think of a good example. But
left behind, you fool, you say.
Yeah, kind of like him, but not really. More like he's talking in platitudes that happen to rhyme. But there's definitely a point where like a bunch of the heroes die off or seem to die off, and then you have your new generation. So it's like, it's definitely doing that thing that the Transformers movie did, where they just wanted to bring in a new toy line.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why, much like the Transformers movie, that's why this exists, because
absolutely. This
exists in that period of time. But I don't really have much more to say about this one, other than, the one that you keep talking about, Falcon, Lieutenant Falcon, he's Duke's half-brother.
Gotcha. I understand.
He's his reckless half brother, and so this movie is really about him and him learning to be a Joe and like be a good Joe, and I feel like after this movie came out, Hold on, let's find out. There was probably a new show where he was probably the main character.
Probably.
Yeah, well, this was followed by the 1989 animated series G.I. Joe, a real American hero,
G.I.
which
Joe.
I was apparently considered a separate show, but I don't know. Anyways, that's this one. That's G.I. Joe,
Is this
the movie.
So, my next one. My next one is one of the more recent Muppet shows. It's a show called Muppet Mayhem. Muppet Mayhem is the passion project of Muppeteer Bill Beretta, who is the performer who performs Rolf currently. He's the current performer of Rolf. Dr. Teeth. He created Pepe and performs Pepe, and he's Bobo the Bear. And I believe that's it. And the plot of this is the Electric Mayhem, the Muppets house band of Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, have been touring endlessly for decades, and they owe their record label one album. And they've never recorded an album in their entire careers. And so one of the girls from the record label, played by Lily Singh, tracks them down, finds them at this concert, and convinces them that she's the boss and that they need to make this album. And yeah, it's about them making the album. And over the course of the series, you discover origins of the band, such as where does the band's name come from? Why are they called Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem? How Dr. Floyd Pepper and Dr. Teeth met. You find out how they met Animal and the rest. There's an episode, you find out that Dr. Teeth, the reason why he's called Dr. Teeth is because he's in fact, licensed dentist. Fun behind the scenes fact, you know why he's called Dr. Teeth in the real world?
Is it because Jim Henson was a registered dentist?
No, it's because he was the first Muppet with teeth.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Originally, he started off as a rod puppet. So there's a video of him where Jim Henson was doing him on the Tonight Show before the Muppet Show, and he's got like long, like rubber, spindly arms. But most of the time, he's a live hand puppet. Do you know what a live hand puppet is?
Where you have put your hand through a glove and you are the hand.
Yeah. Well, there requires two puppeteers. One puppeteer is the head and the hand, the right hand, and then the other puppeteer is literally the left-hander, and he just does the left hand. And so most puppet or Muppeteer people, they usually start off as a left hand. That's usually the first job you do, which is apparently really, really hard, obviously. And so yeah, so there's various dramas involving the band. At one point, they break up after they all discover all these little solo projects. Their relationship with the girl's name is Nora is really sweet. They all break up and then they all get back together at the end because of her. The big musical number at the end is really, really like gratifying, really emotionally powerful. I think as a Muppets fan, if you're a fan of the Muppets like I am, you're doing kind of yourself a disservice by not watching this show. This show is the exact kind of show that Jim Henson would have made. Like, that's what I love about it. Like, we're going to talk about how I think Frank Oz misunderstands the Muppets in a bit, but the one thing he definitely got was that, yeah, fundamentally, the Muppets is not a children's thing. The Muppets are a thing for everybody. They're more of a family thing, but they do eschew for adults. And so this show is the kind of show that Jim Henson would have made. Like, there's literally an episode where they get stoned on LSD and hallucinate a bunch on a hill. The origin story, they don't actually do LSD. They eat expired marshmallows, but they're doing LSD. There's an episode that's devoted to explaining how they wrote Can You Picture That, which was just Dr. Teeth and Floyd got stoned on a hill, and I fully believe it was the 1970s. I fully believe that's how they wrote half of Dr. Teeth's like lines and songs, was they just got high on acid and just pulled the puppets out. Like, I fully believe that. I
mean, I don't know about acid. Definitely weed.
They definitely did. No, if you've seen early Muppet Show, it's the 1970s. It was acid. It was acid back then. They did acid. Half of those characters came from an acid trip. Beaker, There's no way Beaker didn't come from an acid trip. Um, But no, it's
Beaker. When it's outside of work, we don't have to explain anything to them.
Yeah.
We don't owe them any answers.
We don't know them any explanation. It's what bugs me when people say that the Disney doesn't understand the Muppets. It's not that Disney doesn't understand the Muppets. Disney does, especially when Disney lets, like I say, this show is a love project. It's a desire. The guy who does Dr. Teeth now, he wanted to make this show. He's the one who pushed it. He initially. You've seen you remember this show, right? Because I know you've seen it.
I've seen it. Yeah, I remember chunks of it.
Apparently, it started off as a movie, which when you see that show, it completely makes sense. Yeah, and then they expanded it out to be a show. The music is all good. There's quite a number of original songs in there that I think are all good. Yeah, it's funny. It's sweet. Like I say, it's got humor in there where it's like, yeah, this is Disney taking chances. When people are like, oh, they're not taking chances with the Muppets, they are. People just aren't responding to it. And that was the other thing. We often talk about how much we can't stand Matt Vogel as Kermit. That's the current Kermit. I became exceptionally frustrated by him watching some of this stuff because he took over a lot of Jerry Nelson's characters. So Jerry Nelson, he does Floyd. So Matt Vogel in this does Floyd Pepper, and he took over. There's another character. Oh, Uncle Deadly. Uncle Deadly, he took over. Uncle Deadly is, you know who Uncle Deadly is?
Not offhand.
He's the one in the original, he's one of the sidekicks of the evil guy. The one who looks really scary.
Oh, the teddy bear or the blue guy?
The blue guy.
Oh, yeah.
His name is Uncle Deadly.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And he was done by Jerry Nelson, who was like, he does Bobo from Fraggle Rock, Robin from the Kermit's nephew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, Count. Count's another one. So he took over his Count. So there's a lot of Jerry Nelson characters where it's indistinguishable. Like his Floyd Pepper sounds just like Jerry Nelson. So and I saw an interview with Bill Beretta where they were asking him about, you know, what's it like to take on a legacy character. And his perspective was that you want to sound as much and like become as close to the original as you possibly can. And some of these guys, when they're doing them, like for example, the guy who does Bert, Eric Jacobson, like he does Fozzie. He took over for Frank Oz as Fozzie, and it's indistinguishable. Like it sounds just like Frank Oz as Fozzie. Like there isn't much of a difference, and if it is, it's barely discernible in my opinion.
And yet he doesn't do Kermit properly.
He doesn't do Kermit properly. There's no respect or reverence. Like Steve Whitmire, he was Kermit and Ernie for the longest time. And his thing was he sounded just like Jim, right? Mm-hmm. He's not. And that extends to Matt Vogel also does Ernie now. And his Ernie doesn't sound right either. Because he's not doing the voice match properly. And I think, as much as the Muppets are like also about the performance and and he's good at that part of it. He's good at meeting the character where he's at physically, but the voice isn't there. And now that I've seen him do other characters so well, like there's so many great moments with Sergeant Pepper and Animal in this show that are really touching and really, really good. Or like there's moments between his, like they really establish the relationship between Floyd Pepper and Dr. Teeth and how Dr. Teeth became Dr. Teeth. Like other stories with the Muppets would give you the impression that like Dr. Teeth was the one who kind of brought them all together, and no, it's really about their partnership. And it's really touching and it's really sweet. And like I said, ultimately, if you're a Muppets fan, you are doing yourself a disservice by not watching it. It's honestly one of the best shows, one of the best things the Muppets have done recently.
So in terms of the Kermit thing, and maybe this is a hot opinion, if he's got all these other characters that he's doing right, but he can't do Kermit, and you said Ernie, if he can't do them right, he should step down. He should step down and let someone who can do them correctly.
Absolutely, yeah.
In terms of Kermit,
he's not even trying.
In terms of Kermit, you can even, because he did the voice of Constantine, you can even have there be a story reason for why he sounded different for all this time, and have it be where Constantine secretly replaced him for all this time, and Kermit finally comes back, and you can make a joke of it. Like,
They
you
would
can make an
never
entire
do
thing
that.
of it.
But no, yeah, he needs to stay. And yeah, like I say, there's other people who voice match. Like I say, Dr. Teeth sounds like Jim Henson, or like the guy who does Elmo now. Like, yeah, he sounds like Elmo. Like for me, because I'm a weird freak who notices slight variations in vocal patterns, I notice a difference. But like, it for the most part doesn't sound totally off. You know what I mean?
No, most time I'm not the weird freak. Most of the times I don't notice the difference enough for it to be like a twitch in my ear kind of thing.
There's
With the Kermit voice, it's bad enough that I notice it. If I notice it, then you know it's bad.
Like he does Big Bird as well, and his Big Bird also sounds off, but it's not distracting with that character. At least not for me, it's not. But hey, also I'm not the target audience, so you know, I guess I kind of am in a way. But anyway, that's the Electric Mayhem. You all should go check it out on Disney Plus.
So, before I talk about this next subject, there's a term which is thrown around a lot, brony. I feel it important to distinguish. I'm not like a brony, so when I heap praise on this movie, just keep that in mind. My next one is the 2017 My Little Pony the movie, because there's an older version, but I didn't go with that. I went with this one, and I liked it. I'm just gonna say it. Felt weird to watch a My Little Pony movie and be like, you know what? This is kind of killing it.
I mean,
because it's like it's got action. The music is good. Like I genuinely like the music. And it's just I mean, yeah. It's obviously everybody knows of My Little Pony. They know the toy line that it was based on. This is like the 4th generation of it or something like that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I mean, plot of the movie, the main, and so before I get to that, this was a real funny experience of I don't know these characters like at all. I have a loose knowledge of, like, I recognized the rainbow one from Death Battle. But I otherwise don't really know the characters. Or, like, I know Pinkie Pie, again, I'm pretty sure she was on Death Battle. So I guess there's the main one of this one, which was the purple one, who's like the Princess Horse of Friendship. Also, some of the ponies can fly, but others can't.
Oh, really?
And then some of them have like the magic powers, and so like there's a point where they jump off the ship, and some of them can fly, but then the others have to use their weird magical telekinesis power to help the other ones get around safely. And the rules are confusing, and I don't know why I thought it was a society of like all little girl horses, but you can imagine my surprise when I heard there was like male voices there, and it's like functionally that makes sense that there would have to be males because male, you know, it makes sense.
And then so one of them is like Doctor Who. There's a horse in there it's Doctor Who. He wears the Doctor Who scarf.
Interesting. And so in this movie, you have the Storm Lord.
I can't say that for sure, but
the Storm Lord has been conquering everything, I guess, and so he finally comes to Equestria, and like there's the anti-evil pony who her horn is broken, and she like is turning all the other leaders and all the other ponies and stuff into statues, and then capturing the rest of them, and then the ponies, the main character ponies, go to this other place, and then there's this cat guy who's like a rogue, and he's gonna like try to sell them to pay off his debts. And I'm like, whoa, the pony movie is gonna be selling the sentient horses. That's weird.
Yeah, that's the thing with My Little Pony movies. They're weirdly dark. Like, they're all weirdly dark.
Yeah, that kind of was my thought. Which is where, and it's like it had a lot more action than I was kind of expecting. Um,
Yeah.
which again made it fun. It was fun. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, I've heard
Um,
it's a good movie.
it was also very successful. I don't normally do this for rapid fires, but I'm going to for this one. The budget was 6.5 million. The box office was 61.3 million. It was very successful.
That is
Um,
very successful.
and so
All the
of
bronies, man.
course, yeah, probably.
Bronies, lucrative business.
I know I know you joke, but probably. Um, but yeah, all the friendship is magic cast people reprised. We're gonna go through and read them all, but the bad horse, the evil pony, she was played by Emily Blunt.
Bad horse.
Huh?
Bad horse.
Bad horse. Tempest Shadow / Fizzlepop Berry Twist.
She was a bad horse.
Because apparently her real name was Fizzlepop Berry Twist.
Fizzlepop.
But yeah, she was a bad horse, bad pony.
She's a very bad horse.
I don't have much more to say about this. The animation was pretty, and it was apparently animated in Vancouver.
Huh. I feel like I knew.
But yeah, no. I guess my final summation of this was I was kind of surprised how much I enjoyed it.
So,
but I'm not a brony.
Jordan, are you a brony?
No, I haven't. I'm not nearly invested enough to go and watch all the different shows and the this and the that. And I'm
Jordan,
no.
Bronies aren't into old My Little Pony. They're only into the new one.
No, I meant the new one, like the Friendship is Magic show.
Friendship is
I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered.
But I mean, I always knew what
maybe
it could be. My Little Pony.
Who knows? Maybe there will be something that this show makes me go and watch that. Who could say? As of right now, though, I mean, it was fun. That being said, I do appreciate that the Stormlord was essentially me. So there's a point in it near the end where like he's come to the Equestria, because I guess the point the evil pony was trying to get the power of the ponies to give to the Stormlord, so the Stormlord could give her horn back. So there's a point near the end where the Stormlord has the power and he's like using it to make the lightning and stuff, and it's destroying Equestria. And he's like, I don't know if this came across, but I don't really go in for the whole cute pony thing. Like, that's not really me. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm the Stormlord.
I also don't go for the cute pony thing.
Not really. The beginning part of the movie where they're like in Equestria singing about the friendship party that they want to have, I was like, oh god, if this is what the entire movie is going to be, this is going to be a very painful experience. Then yeah, you can imagine my shock when Evil Pony comes in and starts turning the citizens of Equestria into statues, like from like Spyro.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's funny.
And it's like weirdly dark, and I was like, and like there's action scenes and like fighting with the ponies, and I was like,
you're
whoa,
is this good?
Is this good? Do I enjoy this?
Am I enjoying this?
Am I a brony now?
Am I a brony now?
I don't think I'm a
brony. I think you know the name of the YouTube video is Jordan a Brony.
God damn it, Justin.
I think you know that's the name of the YouTube video.
God damn it. But that's My Little Pony the movie 2017 edition.
Yeah, through part of that I was trying to see if I could find
as an aside, that was also my last rapid fire.
Alright. Yeah, while you were doing that I was trying to see if I could find my next one, long time ago, when we were trying
in a galaxy far away?
No, in this one. When me and Jordan were trying to make a YouTube show kick off, I wrote a script for a review of Muppets Take Manhattan, which is the next movie we're going to talk about. And
that's one of those ones where it's like, I know I've watched that one. That's not one of those ones that I've seen a bunch. I don't have a deep memory or nostalgia for it because it was boring.
Right, it's really boring. Like just off the bat, it's really boring. It's
Like,
boring.
if-
It's depressing. It's really.
If I remember correctly, doesn't Kermit have like amnesia for half of it, and he's with the group of other frogs or something?
So it's really it's oddly somber. So my big thing with Frank Oz is I think Frank Oz, and I'm not like obviously this is going to come from a place of quasi arrogance as an audience member, because obviously Frank Oz knows the Muppets more than I do because he worked with the Muppets. But so this is going to come from a place of arrogance of me saying I don't think he understands the Muppets, because his big criticism of the 2011 Muppet movie was that he felt it was too safe. Oh, it's too safe. The Muppets are more edgy. This is not edgy enough for the Muppets. But he thinks the Muppets are weird and sad. So like, okay, the plot of Muppets Take Manhattan is they all are.
You'd think it would be right in his wheelhouse then.
Right. It's weird and somber, and a lot of it is somber and sad. So like, okay, here's the plot of this is the Muppets are freshly graduated from theater school, and they decide that they're going to take their senior theater class show to Manhattan and try to sell it to Broadway. So they all go to Broadway, and they all are all poor, and they're living in lockers and the train station, and they're trying to shop it around. And it's not really, no one's really selling it. No one really wants it. They go to this one guy. They try to sell it to him. It turns out he's a con man. There's a bunch of musical numbers. None of them are very good. They're not very interesting. And then, so then the Muppets break up. Like a huge chunk of the movie, they're broken up. And it's like you're like, oh, how come Steve Whitmire took over as Kermit? Why did that happen? Because him and Jim Henson spent a great deal of time together in this movie, because Rizzo and Kermit are the Muppets who interact the most. Because a huge chunk of this movie is Kermit is staying in the city to try and sell the Broadway show, and he's working out of this diner with this vaguely Eastern European man who talks in weird European, like he's like, is good, is dance, is friend, is coming, is show, is good, is now, is happening. Like he talks like that.
Is yes,
is no, is going, is coming, is fine. So then it turns out that Miss Piggy has actually also been staying in the city, and there's this really long scene with her and I forget her name. Shit. What was her name? Oh my god, it's totally gone. Blonde hair, scary beyond all reason. Starts with a J.
Jennifer Lopez?
No, oh, it's gonna bug me.
Janice?
Not Janice. Oh, shit.
Jet Jaguar?
Hold on. Miss Piggy. Makeup. Muppets.
Dolly Parton?
Sorry. No. Oh my god, it's gonna bug me. Hold on.
The Joker?
Because it's not a very funny joke, and it's a weird cameo. There, Joan Rivers. That's what it was. She's selling makeup in a department store with Joan Rivers in a scene that just goes on forever of them like throwing makeup at each other and going hysterical. And so they end up getting called in to this Broadway producer. Kermit shows up, and there's a bunch of sight gags. There's one where he dresses up and he shows up at this famous restaurant with a stacked on top of a bunch of rats in like a disguise. There's a bunch of various, and anyway, so he ends up with this Broadway producer played by an actual. It's like I think he's playing himself. He shows up, and they think it's this famous Broadway producer, but it turns out it's his son. His son wants to produce the show, so they run off to go tell everybody. And Kermit gets hit by a car, and so most of the movie has happened. This is within the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You think of it's all solved. The movie's resolved. Everything's the happy ending. Kermit gets hit by a car, and he winds up with amnesia. And yeah, he ends up working for this. I couldn't tell if they were supposed to be frogs. One of them had ears, so I don't think they're supposed to be frogs. But this advertisement agency, where they're giving all this stuff, bad slogans, and so Kermit with amnesia, I think he calls himself Phil, ends up doing slogans, and like one of the slogans is like, I can't remember what, I think it was like toothpaste. It's for brushing your teeth. Like it's like no, and then so then obviously they find Kermit. They're trying to get his memory back, and it's not coming back. And then Piggy says how they're in love and they're gonna get married. And then Kermit, as Phil, like starts insulting her, like, "Were you gonna bring home the bacon?" She hits him and brings his memory back. And then
and he gets his memory back.
It ends with Miss Piggy and Kermit getting married, and it was supposed to be like the last Muppet thing. Like that was the idea. It was supposed to be like the finale to the Muppets, which is why it ends with them getting married. And then obviously it did okay, and then they went on to do more stuff. But it's really somber. Like there's a lot of really there's a lot of scenes, a lot of really boring scenes of Kermit and Miss Piggy like kissing each other in the park. I will admit there's a couple of funny jokes that made me laugh. There's an extended funny sequence of Miss Piggy chasing this guy on roller skates through the park who has stolen her purse, and every once in a while it cuts to her to like a woman dressed as Miss Piggy roller skating as Miss Piggy. It's really funny. The big thing that they were proud of with this movie was being able to, there's a sequence where all the Muppets ride bicycles, and for years it was a big mystery, how did they make the Muppets ride bicycles? And it was like through marionettes. They used marionettes to make them like big overhead marionettes to make them do it. But yeah, it's really somber. It's really sad. Most of the movie, the Muppets aren't even together. Like they're apart. Yeah, it's I think that's probably the part you remember, is that it's really sad and really boring.
Yeah, it's mostly what I remember. The details not so much, but
it doesn't have any of the energy. It's somber. It doesn't have any of the high energy. Like, yeah, do I think that the Muppets, because this is my last Muppet thing before we talk about Sesame Street, but in terms of the Muppets, I don't disagree that the Muppets are not for children. They absolutely ride a line of being for both. But when you push it too far and you try to be like, oh, I'm going to tell an adult movie, which is what this is, with Muppet characters, I don't think it works. I think they lose the spirit of what they are. Because this was directed by Frank Oz. So he directed this. Fun fact, Jim Henson directed... I can't remember. He directed a bunch of the other ones. But Jim Henson was supposed to direct this, and Frank Oz took over. And I just think he misunderstands the Muppets, personally.
So, I agree with your... Okay, so this is where we're at. I agree they walk a line. Now, that being said, where I think they're best, like if you're going to do a quote-unquote serious story, is if you take a thing that is normally a serious story and the Muppet spin on it then becomes silly.
Yes, exactly.
So like I've seen on TikTok, like an AI a person used AI to make a fake trailer of like the Muppets doing Titanic. Yeah. I think that would be hilarious. That would be funny. Like to me that's really what the Muppets should be leaning into is doing a movie that, like, there are lots of serious versions of that movie, and I want the Muppet version of it, which is not.
I think that the Muppets, to me, to be fair, Muppets today, I think, the Muppets maybe overall, Muppet show, I always felt that skewed 10-year-olds, 8 to 9, 10-year-olds, but adults could enjoy it. Like, it wasn't made for... That was Jim Henson's thing, is he wanted the world to understand that the Muppets were not for children. Like, not exclusively anyway.
Not exclusively for children.
Yeah,
they can be enjoyed by all ages.
I think Muppets Take Manhattan is the worst Muppets movie. And now I say that having...
I remember Wizard of Oz being pretty bad.
Wizard of Oz is not a movie. That's a special. Doesn't count.
Okay.
Of the Muppets theatrical movies, it is in my opinion the worst. With that having been said, I want to watch Great Muppet Caper. We're probably going to do mysteries again, so I can watch Great Muppet Caper, because I know I've seen that movie, but I don't remember a second of it, and maybe that's worse.
I don't specifically remember that one.
I was just like, this is like, especially after coming off of like the 2011 one, where I'm like, this is also has an air of being somber to it, but it's more effective and it's not just sad. And also the Muppets aren't broken up for half of it. Like a large chunks of the movie are like yeah. I mean, I will say, okay, no, that's not true. There was a joke that genuinely made me belly laugh, which was that there's a series of scenes where it's the Muppets are off doing whatever, and it's them writing back to Kermit, telling them what they're doing. And so I can't remember all of them, but one of them is Fozzie Bear he's hibernating and he's sleeping in a cave with a bunch of regular bears, and another one is Gonzo, and he's now a stunt man, and he's gonna do this big stunt where he's like gonna jump over a bunch of stuff and like fly through a flaming hoop, and it's Gonzo. You get that, you know what he's gonna do. And so it shows him reading what he's gonna do, and then the next scene, which is him calling them back, or the guy writing them to get them back, it now cuts, and it's just Gonzo, and he's all in bandages. And I was just like, that's a funny Muppet joke. Like, that's a Muppet joke where it's like, yeah, you didn't need to show him get into the accident. The implication is enough. Like, that's where the humor. Yeah. That's the Muppets. But like, yeah, them like there's the scene where, I don't know if you remember it, where it's like the saying goodbye. That was it. Saying goodbye is this song they sing where they all leave, and it ends with like him running after them, and it's really sad, and the music is really sad, and it's really sad. And I'm like, this isn't the Muppets. Like, this is not the Muppets. Like, there's moments in the original movie, like going to go back there someday, where it's like, yeah, this is emotional, but it's not depressing or somber. Yeah, that's Muppets Take Manhattan. That is my final rapid fire.
Well,
I promise the next thing isn't the Muppets.
It better not be, or we're gonna have a riot up in here. So I watched 2 Lego things this week. The first one is I have seen, because I've seen this one, and that's the Lego Batman movie.
Darkness! No parents!
This movie's funny. This movie's a comedy, so it's poking fun at a lot of the Batman stuff. They have direct references to all the different eras of live-action Batman, which
who pays
I
his
think
taxes?
is funny.
Not Batman!
The fact that they, in this movie, they poke fun at multiple times the fact that Superman and Batman, he's like, who's your main Joker's like, who's your main villain? And he's like, Superman. And he's like, Superman's not a villain. He's like, then I guess I would say I don't currently have one.
I'm not currently seeing any one villain at this time.
The fact that this also has the weird third act where Joker goes into the Phantom Zone and gets all the worst villains, and like you've got like Voldemort, and like this really feels like they took the how it should have ended, the Villains Pub.
Yeah.
It really feels like they took that and made it into a movie.
Yeah, they did. My favorite bit is where he goes through all the Batman villains, and there's some ones where you're like, this feels like it's fake, and they're not. So like,
Calendar Man. It's definitely worth a look up. You should look it up later.
Or Condiment King. Condiment King was one where I was like, I thought for sure that was fake. Nope, Condiment King.
Nope, that's a real one.
It was funny because Robert Pattinson was asked which Batman villain he'd like to see in a movie, and he said Condiment King. And I was like, that's funny. I know who that is.
Yeah, no, I mean, just from
enjoy Zach Galifianakis as
I enjoy him as the Joker. He's a fun version of the Joker. Yeah. This movie, I was gonna say, from a toy maker's perspective, you can tell that Lego learned from like Bionicle and the ones where they have storylines. Over the years, you can see how Lego realized how effective a storyline can be for selling their toys. Because, there's definitely been Lego Batman toys since.
It's a whole separate franchise. There's toys, video games. In fact, there's in the Lego Dimensions, I think we talked about this before, but in the Lego Dimensions, there's a level where you have the Lego Batman from the games and the Lego Batman from the movies, and they interact.
Yeah. I seem to remember you telling me about that.
It's pretty fun. Yeah, the voice
And what's
cast
funny-
is very fun.
what's funny-
Zach Galifianakis as the Joker is really funny.
What's funny too about these Lego movies, this one in particular is, at least tangentially, you can tell that it is still connected to the Lego movie, because like there's the point where Joker is gonna blow up the city or whatever, and they're like, if they do, it'll crack in two as the table falls out from underneath.
That's funny.
And so like at the end, they're like, I hope your abs are strong, and they go across the divide, which is then they pull it back together, and it just clicks back together. And so like there's references like that. There's references like Batman at one point is like teaching Robin how to build stuff, and he's like, one day you'll be a master builder like me. So like there's references like that where it's like, I mean, yeah, that comes from the Lego movie, which came first.
Hey, Jordan, you may be a master trapper, but I'm a master. Nearly masturbated myself.
Almost
there.
masturbated myself there. But yeah, I mean, well, there's not much more. Not much more to say about this one. You know, it's a pretty successful movie. You know, it had a budget of $80 million. And Justin, do you want to guess what the box office was?
100 million.
More.
200 million.
More.
500 million.
See, you always go way too high on the third guess. No.
275 million.
Ooh, you're close, but I'm going to cut you off there and say you failed. It was 312.2 million.
Oh, was close.
But
Up early in the morning.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this movie where it's like it pops up on my TikToks and stuff, and it still makes me laugh. Like people have made a meme out of the I have social anxiety, and then it'll be the video where it's like, you should go to the party, meet new people. No. Make some new friends. No. You know, maybe you'll finally get over the loss of your no. Funny.
Who pays his taxes?
Not Batman.
Who never skips leg day?
Not Batman.
No.
Not Batman. But yeah, you got Will Arnett as Bruce Wayne / Batman, Zach Galifianakis as the Joker, and Michael Cera as Dick Grayson. Also,
Dick.
apparently, Rosario Dawson is Barbara Gordon.
Jordan, only my friends
And
call me Richard. You can call me
Dick. Also, Mariah Carey is apparently the mayor.
All right. Jordan.
That was just a weird one that really? Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think he was, yeah. They are reprising their role. Right. Which also kind of, I guess, makes this more tangentially related to the Lego movie. Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill both reprised their role as Superman and Green Lantern from the Lego movie.
And Jonah Hill is Robin.
What?
He's Robin. Oh, no. Michael Cera is Robin.
Michael Cera is Robin. Jonah Hill is Green Lantern.
And Zach Galifianakis is the Joker.
God, you gotta get it right, Justin.
And I'm pretty sure Rosario Dawson is the Commissioner Gordon.
Huh. Interesting. So apparently there's characters in his voice actor, or in the Rogues Gallery, that voice characters. Billy D. Williams is a nod to his role as Harvey Dent.
Yeah, he plays Joe. He plays Two-Face.
Yeah, in this movie.
Yup. I knew that. Jordan.
So that's interesting.
Does that conclude our time with the Lego Batman?
Doug Benson as Bane, who is making fun of Tom. Yeah, he makes fun of Tom Hardy's portrayal. Yeah, I didn't catch any of what you just said. Nope. When you go that pitch, it just does not want to pick you up at all for me. I don't know if the audience is catching any of that, but
Fucking
apparently Swamp Creature with Seth Green.
That makes sense. Jordan, is that it?
That is all. Also, I found it funny that the Daleks were in it.
Exterminate. So Jordan, the thing that kind of made me want to do puppets was I saw clips of a movie that most of you people have never heard of. That Jordan's barely heard of because he's only heard of it because I told him about it. It's a movie called The Happy Time Murders. And it is directed by Brian Henson, Jim Henson's son. It stars Melissa McCarthy. And Bill Beretta plays a puppet named, I want to say Phil. Philson, I think is something like that. Anyway, and this movie takes place in a world where puppets, where the world is cohabitated by puppets. And puppets in this universe are second-class citizens who are treated like utter dog shit. People are mean to them. They beat them up. They're, I guess, for lack of a better word, racist towards them, prejudiced, what have you. They are second-class citizens. The only thing they are good for is to be beat up. And so Phil is a private detective, and he's been hired by this girl who is being blackmailed. And while he is investigating this girl's blackmailer, he discovers a conspiracy in which all of the members of a show called the Happy Time Gang are all being picked off and murdered one by one, including his brother, who has gotten a bunch of plastic surgery to look more, quote, look more fleshy. So he's had like his skin, he's had his skin bleached and his hair and teeth replaced and all sorts of stuff like that. There's one, and and so Phil was the one puppet who was allowed to be a cop, and he accidentally shot a puppet. So they introduced a law they called the Phil Law, and he was fired. And yeah, it's a noir mystery discovering who's killing the Happy Time Gang, and the whole gang is that it's an R-rated movie, and so it's one of those shows or movies where the entire joke is puppets aren't supposed to say that. So it really plays in it. It frustrates me because like it's Jim Henson's son, and he himself, Brian Henson, who he himself has directed and created a bunch of, like, he directed Muppet Christmas Carol and a bunch of stuff like that. So like the entire joke with this movie is that it's like puppets aren't supposed to say that. It's, you know what I mean? Where it's like puppets,
feels disrespectful.
Well, it's just like it's the one joke where it's the entire joke is puppets aren't supposed to say a swear. Kermit can't say a swear. Or like there's a bit early on where he goes to a porn store and there's a cow who's being milked in the background by an octopus, and that's the joke. It's just that it's gross. Or like there's a scene later on where the girl who's hired him is really into sex and seduces him, and there's a big long scene of him having sex with her, and there's a really prolonged sequence of him, this is YouTube, shooting silly string for like a really long time, where he's like, oh, and it just goes on for fucking ever. And that's the joke. That's the joke. Puppets aren't supposed to do that. There's kind of a funny subplot. Melissa McCarthy, she got shot in the side because the whole thing is he was supposed to shoot a puppet perpetrator, and he hesitated and he accidentally killed this random puppet guy, and so Melissa McCarthy ends up getting shot as a result. So he takes her to a puppet doctor, and the puppet doctor's like, I can't operate on her, she's human, I can't do it. He's like, you're gonna fucking do it and you're gonna save her life or I'll fucking kill you. And so she gets a puppet liver. And so puppets in this universe, their drugs is they love sugar. They just do shit tons of sugar. And so she winds up becoming horribly addicted to puppet drugs, essentially. And so there's a really funny scene where she goes to, like, they go to a puppet drug den, and she does a shit ton of puppet drugs. And that like, I thought there were jokes in this that were funny. It reviewed horribly. It bombed horribly. But it made me laugh. What was the other bit? Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna spoil. So spoiler alert. I'm gonna spoil the ending of this movie. The spoiler of this movie is that the person who's been killing the Happy Time Gang. Oh yeah, and also one of the Happy Time Gang. There's a human character played by Elizabeth Banks who is Phil's ex-girlfriend. So it turns out that the girl who hired Phil is actually the daughter. Because there's a bit. You remember? Not full disclosure. Basic Instinct. Remember Basic Instinct?
My one memory of Basic Instinct is one particular scene where there's a woman on a chair.
She uncrosses her legs and you can see her vagina.
I don't specifically have a memory of that. I know that that's a very famous scene from that movie.
Okay. They do that scene from that movie in this movie where she uncrosses her legs and she's I'm so sorry, but she's got purple pubes that are like carpet. Like she got a carpet of purple pubes. And
Justin, we're on YouTube.
Sorry, because that's how they discover. So you find out at the end that she's actually the daughter of the puppet that Phil killed, and you find that out because he's got an assistant who's in love with him. She's the one who played by Maya Rudolph, who realizes it, and that's what causes them to put the pieces together. And it turns out that she's the one. Because the whole bit is that the puppets on the Happy Time Gang, they have a clause in their contract that they make $10 million once it goes to syndication, and it gets split amongst the cast, unless whoever's left of the cast, it gets split amongst them or their spouses. And so yeah, they're slowly killing off the Happy Time Gang, and you think that the ex-girlfriend has been killed, and it turns out that the girl who hired Phil was the daughter of the guy that Phil accidentally killed, and she's out for revenge, killing all of them. It turns out she's a total psycho, and he kills her in the end, shoots her right in the head. And it's very bizarre. But yeah,
it sounds like a weird movie.
It is such a weird fucking movie. It's so weird. Like, that's my big thing, is it's so weird. And it's just the one joke. It's just the one joke, which is that, yeah, the Sesame Street character, like, they got sued because they had a tagline that was no Sesame, all street. Or it was all street, no sesame. Something to that effect. And Sesame Street sued them because they didn't want to be associated with this disgusting movie. That's what it was. So the thing about puppets and Muppets is the one thing to sort of trick you into thinking that they're real is, for the most part, whenever you see a Muppet, you obviously only ever see it from the waist up. You never see its legs. But they do a really good job of
making it look like the legs exist.
Yeah, exactly. And Jim Henson pioneered a lot of the techniques that make the Muppets look real. And I didn't say this with the Muppets 2011 or the Electric Mayhem, but the Muppets convey emotion brilliantly. Like there's moments where they look sad even though they have no expression. It's all about how you move the puppet. And this is no exception.
Or squish the face, or move the face, or do stuff with the face. Yeah.
But a shortcut is every once in a while, you show their full body and you show them with legs. That happens in Electric Mayhem, and with Randy as well. I joked about seeing his junk, but you see his legs quite often in that show, and it's weird. So they utilize green screen and green screen guys to make it look like the puppets are walking around with full legs. So there's a couple of scenes where you see like Phil, like he's running and he's doing a chase sequence and you see his full body, and that's what kind of makes this movie unique, is that this is kind of a rare time you get to see the full puppet bodies like all the time. And so there's a really weird, but they still move weird. So there's a scene where he's like kicking the shit out of this guy, and it looks weird because you see his whole body. But the behind the scenes stuff is super funny because like you could just see like there's one where you see him doing I think that's in the credits. They show the blooper at the post credit scene is a blooper reel, and they show the sex scene, and it's just like the guy in the green screen, like he's got his hand in the head, and then he's got his hands on the body, like he's doing the body, and it looked really weird. But yeah, it makes the puppets look more believable and more real. And that's where you can kind of see the Henson touch to this, So while it is gross and weird, and I think it's probably definitely a bad movie, the puppetry is still there, and the voice acting is still good. I can't believe Bill Beretta did this. He's the one that shocks me. I watched an interview, the same interview I talked about earlier. He mentioned doing this. Apparently, he's like best friends with Brian Henson. That's the reason why he does all this stuff. That's the reason why he's involved in the Muppets. It's because he's best friends with Brian Henson. But like none of the Muppet people are involved in this whatsoever. He's the only one, and he's the main guy. It is otherwise does not involve them whatsoever. I can't believe that Sesame Street though would sue them over this because it's Brian Henson. Like it's Jim Henson's son. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, but if he didn't have permission to use that, he didn't have permission to use that.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But yeah, very weird, very strange movie. That's the Happy Time Murders.
So
I was calling just real quick. I was calling it the Happy Fun Time Murders all week, and that's not the name. Ninjago.
So, no.
Oh.
Nope, that's a have not seen.
Oh.
This
Ninjago
is my second have seen, which was Small Soldiers.
Soldier.
So this movie, those who don't know, Cold Notes version, two factions, they have military chips put in them, they gain sentience, one of them starts trying to kill everyone.
Yes, they go mad.
So, it's a lot of fun. It's got young Kirsten Dunst in it.
Yes, it does.
Gregory Smith. It's got that dude who eventually played Richard Nixon, is playing the leader of the Gorgonites.
Franklin Langella.
Yes, but some people might not know him by name. And it's got Tommy Lee Jones, which, as an aside, I never really thought about who the voices were. Like, growing up, it didn't really matter. I didn't have a reason to really care. But now that I do this, I kind of had to. And so, this was the first time I realized that Major Chip Hazard was played by Tommy Lee Jones. I know, so sue me. And I should have instantly recognized that voice, but I didn't really care. It was also the last on-screen film role of Phil Hartman.
Really?
Who was murdered 2 months before the film's premiere.
Really? That I didn't know.
Yep.
I forget he was in this. Yeah, he's the neighbor's dad, right?
He's the neighbor's dad. He's Kirsten Dunst's dad.
Dunst's dad. Yeah. I completely forgot he was in this. Yeah, that's funny because I saw you watching it. And I know that a lot of it is practical, but it was way more CGI heavy than I remembered. I remembered it being way more practical.
Yeah, also the dad of the main character, I'm pretty sure, is the same dad as Sam Witwicky's dad in
Is it?
In Transformers. I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to find and look.
I think it's Richard Karn. I'm pretty sure it's Richard Karn.
Abernathy. Stewart?
Maybe I'm wrong. I might be misremembering.
Stewart Abernathy? He's played by he's played by Kevin Dunn.
No, I was wrong. It's not Richard Karn. Well, I don't know why I remember being Richard Karn.
He is Sam Witwicky's father in the Transformers film series.
Witwicky. Robert Witwicky.
That's what I said.
He's Robert Witwicky. I don't know if that's his actual first name.
So he's that's why I recognized him. Also, you have David Cross is in this.
Oh yeah. Him and Jay Moore, right? They're the guys who invented.
Yeah, the guy who was Paulie in Paulie.
Yes, Jay Moore. That's what I said. This is what I say.
I'm just looking to see if there's any other very well-known names. Jim Cummings is Ocula, which is funny because that character doesn't talk, so I don't know how Jim Cummings is Ocula.
Maybe he does grunts and groans.
Maybe.
So hot.
Could be. But here's the thing that I just learned. Did you know that there were Small Soldiers video games?
Not off the top. Yeah, I feel like I might have. I think I might have knew that.
Only one of them has a Wikipedia. Only one of them has a Wikipedia article, so it's the only one that I can actually find any information about, and that's the PlayStation one, which has nothing to do with the movie.
Oh.
Doesn't follow the plot of the movie at all, and is based apparently on the fictional world of Gorgon, where the characters are living beings.
Oh, all right. Yeah, this movie's weird. It sets up for a sequel. Although, to be fair, there were talks about doing a sequel, like fairly recently. I saw something about they were talking about doing a sequel, and I was like, really? This feels kind of late.
Yeah, it surprises me that you say that that they're looking at a sequel, because this thing was apparently a commercial failure.
Yeah, I read it somewhere.
It apparently the budget was $40 million, box office was $71.8 million, but also this had some controversy. It had a lawsuit from Burger King, because it was someone else was the lawsuit, but there was issue. That's what it was. Controversy. Burger King created a line of kids meals toys to promote for it, and then the movie got a PG-13 rating.
Oh snap!
Because of the scene where the army guys are going into Phil and Marion's house, Kirsten Dunst's house, and they put the drugs in her drink to knock them out. That's why. That's why it got PG-13. And so some of the restaurants, because it was it had material which was inappropriate for children, some of the restaurants had to recall the toys and stuff, and it was apparently a big deal. Also, according to this, there's a canceled remake.
Drugging women is perfectly appropriate for children. I just realized what I was saying.
No, it's not. Stop that.
I just realized what I said. That was bad. I shouldn't have said that. Drugging women is only okay if they consent to it.
Okay, we're just gonna bypass that. Yeah, apparently a remake of Small Soldiers was in development by 20th Century Fox called Toy-mageddon. The script was purchased in January 2014, and the director Justin Lin was set to produce the film.
Really?
The story was described to be set in a toy story that begins to run amok. It was not explicitly stated at the time to be a remake of Small Soldiers.
Oh, I mean, all right. I mean, just like you don't have to do a sequel. Just make another movie that takes place in that universe where, like, the technology takes over the toy.
I mean, you could absolutely. They did set up for a sequel, in which you could have it be, like, the thing is that you can make it a sequel and really not need to bring back any of the people from the original.
Yeah, really?
Because, like, the way they set it up for the sequel is, at the end, the owner of the company or whatever was like, we have some people in, I don't remember what country it was, but some foreign country, like, get in touch with our military division. I have some people who would be very interested in buying these toys.
I mean,
you make the sequel where it's like they're further developed or whatever, and, like, they're going to do some sort of military thing.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's more fun when it's the toys are to make it into it's sort of like when people are like, oh, the Jurassic World movie should be about dinosaurs and they're in the army. I'm like, I don't know. I think I like the idea if it's in a toy store and it's the toys are attacking the toy store, and yeah, they've got the military grade AI in them.
Yeah, that would be my version.
That's way more interesting.
Personally, I would just do it. I would just do a remake. I wouldn't do a sequel. I would do a remake or a requel, where it's like, yeah, you basically cut out the family aspect of it, and they get shipped to the store like they were supposed to. One of them gets activated or something and activates all of them in the toy, and it's about them taking over the store.
That'd be fun. I'd watch that. I'd watch that movie. Jordan, is that it for toy soldiers?
Like maybe the way that I would do it is I would have it be where there is like a teenager or something who works at the store who receives the toys, and he he opens it and he activates one of them.
Yeah.
And like that would be it, but have it be where it takes place at the store.
Jordan, is that it for Toy Story?
Especially because yes, it is, but especially because then at that point in our modern day, you can have other toys like much how in the original movie they use the one chip to like have an army of Barbies. You could have other toys that then they use the chip to bring them to life, and it could be this whole like cadre who's who of toys that you recognize. Exactly. This thing writes itself.
Exactly. So. Now that we've finished with the Muppets, Jordan, there is another group of Muppets. And this is going to be a 1-2-fer of... Jordan, let me ask you this question, Jordan. Let me ask you this question right now. Right now. Jordan, can you... Are you ready? Are you prepared? Is your body ready to answer this question?
Go on.
Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street?
You take a left on Broadway.
I knew it. Jordan, Sesame Street, they made 2 theatrical movies.
What's funny is a while back in New York, I believe there was a street which was unveiled by the mayor as Sesame Street. So now you can in fact Google and find out how to get to Sesame Street.
So in 1985, I think is what the year this came out, the Jim Henson group created a movie called Follow That Bird.
Yes, I know.
Play the trailer. Follow That Bird it's a movie about Big Bird, where the group of birds decides that Big Bird living on his own without other birds, that he needs to be around his own kind, because it's a metaphor for racism, you see. He needs to be with his own kind. And so
we need to relocate him from his home that he's perfectly happy in and put him in a foster home, if you will, to live with creatures and people that are like him, if you understand what I'm saying.
His own kind. So yeah, he ends up going and living with a bunch of dodos who, it's funny how you don't notice things when you're a kid. I didn't notice that one of the dodos is literally just Mandark from Dexter's Lab.
Hey, we're on TV. Let's go inside and see ourselves.
We just eat worms. So that's why someone asked me like, I think you may have asked. So are the Muppets do they exist outside of Sesame Street? Is and yes, they do, because you see throughout this movie various different types of Muppets in different areas of the world. Like at one point they go to a Grouch cafe that's run by Grouches.
You're burying the lead a little bit. The reason why I asked that is because of what happens later in the movie with the 2 human villains that are getting rich off of a talking bird, even though this is I'm sorry, but it makes no sense.
We're getting there. Hold on. You're getting ahead of yourself. So
it makes no sense.
You're getting ahead of the game here. So so he winds up with his family of dodos, and he ultimately decides that he doesn't like it with the dodos and he wants to go back to Sesame Street. So he decides he's going to walk back to Sesame Street. And so the movie, as it is titled, is about finding Big Bird. And
following that bird.
And yes, Big Bird inevitably gets captured by I forget the actor, Dave Thomas, I think is his name. Ends up getting kidnapped by 2 brothers, and that their names are literally evil or sinister or something like that. I can't remember what their names are, but yeah, they kidnap Big Bird and they put him in a cage and they make him sing while he's painted blue, and everyone shows up to see this really big bird sing. Actually, it's funny you say that, because I saw a video where someone was like, his name is Big Bird, not Biggest Bird, which implies that there is a series of much bigger birds on Sesame Street,
right?
But yeah, this movie is fucking weird. Sorry, I shouldn't curse about Sesame Street. This movie's weird. This movie has a tone problem. My number one thing, and I said this when you talked about it, which is that, you know what, I'm going to put the clip of us talking about it very briefly.
Sid Sleaze and Sam Sleaze.
Sid and Slam Sleaze, that's what it was. Yeah, where we said when you first talked about this, which is that this movie is really sad and upsetting. Like, it's really sad. It's a tonal nightmare because, so far as I'm concerned, I mean, to be fair, again, maybe the perspective of Sesame Street was different in the 1980s. That is certainly possible, and maybe it was different in the 1990s. Based upon the Elmo movie, I would say it's not. But to me, Sesame Street is for 3-year-olds. Like, it's for 3-year-olds. It's for young kids. And like,
I would have said 4 or 5 personally.
Okay,
but...
3 to 4, between 3 and 5. It's a show for young toddlers and young children because that's its purpose. Its purpose is to teach toddlers life lessons, which is fine. It's fine that's the target demographic. But this movie skews for like 12-year-olds, and the reason why I could say I think this is too scary and upsetting for like it drives the stakes up to a weird level when you remember 2 things. Number 1, that it's Big Bird, and number 2, that he's 6. Like you said this, he's canonically, at least in this movie, 6 years old. Like, the movie goes out of its way multiple times to tell you that he's 6 years old. Which, yeah, means Sam and whatever sleaze kidnapped a 6-year-old.
Kidnapped a 6-year-old and painted him blue.
Painted him blue and put him in a cage. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
Which even ignoring the fact that he's a kid, it just doesn't make any sense. If this is a world where all these Muppet creatures exist and that's normal,
right?
Like it's not like they exist only on Sesame Street and that's what makes Sesame Street a magical special place. No, they go to like a grump cafe in the middle of like what, Iowa or something?
Something like that, yeah. It's where they're all they're all supposed to meet up. And
yeah, where it's just in the middle of nowhere, and so it's like so it just doesn't make any sense. So why would they get rich off of Big Bird? He's just a normal bird. He lived with the dodos. The dodos are a family of creatures that just exist. The social worker lady who wants to
are taller than him.
Yes, the social worker lady who works for the government is a bird lady. Him being a talking bird isn't... In this world, just from a story standpoint, in this world, I don't see how they get rich. Unless the idea is it's his singing talent, like it's his talent. But they don't really say that.
No, because the reason why those guys exist, because this movie, it was written by 2 people, whose names don't matter, but it was written by 2 people, and it, just like the 2011 Muppet movie, is 2 movies. It's a movie, we joked about it earlier, but it's a movie that's about the system. And it's a movie that's about how the system is, like, sometimes being put into the system and being a foster kid doesn't work. And sometimes
it's not. Yeah, it's not right.
And the bad guy is the system. The bad guy is Miss Dodo, who's chasing after Kermit or after Big Bird. And like midway through the movie, you don't know me, but I know you. But I'm here. We hunt.
I don't know. You don't know me. I don't know you. But I wasn't gonna read these. But
the government is okay. All right. All right. Anyway, Big Bird.
We're talking about a movie.
Yeah,
to be clear.
Big Bird. So, yeah, Follow That Bird, 1885. Follow That Bird. So, Miss Dodo is chasing after him, and she's a suitable enough bad guy, right? She's a suitable enough villain for this movie. But then the movie realized, it can't be a commentary on the system. We need a human bad guy. So then Sam Sleaze or whatever and his brother get shoved into this in the third act, so the movie could have a third act villain, but like it doesn't really work in this movie because it just kind of there's a scene at the end where like Big Bird has to jump from a moving car. Gordon's trying to convince him to jump from a moving car, and he's like, come on, you gotta do it. He's like, I don't want to do it. That's not safe. And there isn't like a
I wish I could just call Matt Pat
call
up.
Matt Pat on this stuff. Yeah, that's funny. Nice one. Nice reference. But yeah, so like the drama of this movie, it's weird when you remember that it's
that's high praise.
That's high praise indeed. Well, hey, I got more. But yeah, it's weird when you remember it's a Sesame Street movie and you're concerned about Big Bird's physical safety. That's not what Sesame Street is about. So
that's where I say that's more the Muppets.
Yeah.
And that's where I say this movie. You're right. It does skew older, and to me, it skews more into Muppets territory.
Yes,
and that's the problem. Is like they are two different.
Yes.
They're two branches of the same tree, but like if Muppets is the higher branches, Sesame Street is the lower branches.
Yes.
And it's
Absolutely.
just that you it's totally.
I would say you're right. This is less of a. This is a like we talked about. Oh man, not to go back to Andor, but bad Star Wars show, good show, fine movie, good movie. I laughed. There's a lot of really funny jokes involving Oscar and Maria. Like they put Oscar and Maria in the car, and they're genuinely funny. Where she's free.
Yeah.
Like there's many times in this movie where I'm like, why are you letting Oscar drive? But like, yeah, you're right. It's a good Muppet movie. It's a bad Sesame Street movie.
Yeah.
It's not a good Sesame Street movie.
That would be my ultimate summation.
But okay, to go to Cherry Lou parentheses Louis. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Louish.
Louish.
If it's in chat speak, Louish.
Here's a film theory for you. So about midway through the movie, all of the Sesame Street characters all meet up to determine.
Oh, they're absolutely canon in the same universe. We're talking more from a movie. We're talking more from a movie making standpoint.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a bit early on in the movie where all the Sesame Street characters all meet up and they all get in different cars and they all take off in different directions to different routes that they're all going to meet up in one place to find Big Bird. And so you're like, okay, yeah, the human characters are obviously going to drive the cars, right? Because they're the human characters, which is true. So like Gordon and I don't remember her name, but the black lady,
Maria,
not Maria, she's Hispanic. They wind up in one car with Cookie Monster.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's just Cookie Monster at first. Bert and Ernie.
Cookie Monster. And Grover was in the car, but then Super Grover flies off, I believe.
Swap it reverse. So Super Grover is flying there at first because he's part of the Ain't No Man.
Right.
And then, and which is as a funny aside, it's funny that Grover has superpowers canonically within the. It's not the first time Super Grover shows up in one of these movies, but canonically he legit has superpowers. Is funny. Just Lewis is fine. Excellent. Hi there, Lewis.
Welcome.
We're about to get into deep film theory territory about Sesame Street. So anyway, so okay. So yeah, there's a bit where they all take off in different vehicles. So yeah, so Oscar, as I mentioned, it drives off with Maria in his own car. The Count has his own car, complete with bat spoilers. Bert and Ernie fly a plane.
And Cookie Monster is slowly eating the punch buggy.
Yeah, slowly eating the punch buggy. Yeah. And then eventually, Grover crashes and he winds up in the car with Gordon. And I wish I could remember her name. And then, Bert and Ernie are flying a plane. And there's a really funny scene where it's a parody that you would never get as a child. That's where I'm like, these movies have weird jokes in them. Like, there's a joke where it's literally, you know the reference, but you won't know it by name. Maybe you will. You know North by Northwest?
The movie?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
5 Nights. The Five Nights at Freddy fandom. They've been pretty nice to us since we've been doing this. I've never gotten any mean comments from Five Nights at Freddy's fans, and I put out some really.
You have a good one though, Lewis.
Thanks for joining us.
Feel free to come back and check out some of our backdated videos too, if you want.
Yeah, no, we have videos about Five Nights at Freddy's if you want to go check those out.
Yeah.
Anyway, the scene. You know the scene. You've seen it parodied 100 times. It's the one where the plane is coming at the guy and he runs towards the camera.
Yeah, probably.
They made fun of it on Family Guy once. But yeah, they literally do that, where it's the plane comes diving at Big Bird because they're trying to get his attention. It's Big Bird.
Oh yeah.
That's a parody of an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so anyway, when I was a kid, right? When I was younger, I always assumed that all the Sesame Street characters were kids, like me. Like Bert, Ernie, Elmo, Big Bird. I thought that they were all kids. I never got that some of them are supposed to be adults because okay, so
Yeah,
Oscar
like Ernie. Ernie is an adult.
Is he an adult? I tried to Google it. I couldn't find any.
Or not Ernie. Bert. Bert is definitely supposed to be.
Is Bert supposed to be an adult?
Which one's the yellow one?
That's Bert.
Yeah, Bert. He comes across like he's supposed to be like okay, if we were gonna age Muppets, he comes across like he's supposed to be like the 19 or 20-year-old, and Ernie is like the 18-year-old. Like he's the slightly younger one.
I always assumed that they were supposed to be children, but like the Count is clearly an adult because he drives his own car.
Oh man, they can't be they can't be children. They live on their own functionally as adult roommates.
I suppose that is true. I couldn't find anything that specifically
canonically.
Let's find out.
Canonically, like Elmo has parents, so Elmo is definitely like a kid.
But so do Bert and Ernie. Bert, at least Ernie's parents or his mom, I think, has shown up at one point. Hold on, let's find out.
But he doesn't live with them.
True. How old are Bert?
Elmo lives with his parents.
Interesting. So, according to Google, it says Bert and Ernie are not given specific ages on Sesame Street, but they are generally understood to be young adults, best friends, and roommates. While some performers have suggested that Bert might be around 6 or 7 years old, Sesame Workshop maintains that they're simply and not defined by any particular age or sexual orientation. Yeah. That's in response to everyone calling them gay. The thing is, like, I'd be like, yeah. But Big Bird or Elmo is canonically 3 years old, and Big Bird is canonically 6 years old. So that's why I was. I have to go by this movie because this movie is canon, and so any of the ones who drive or fly a plane, I consider to be adults. That was my thing. Right?
Because it is otherwise irresponsible to claim that they are children.
Although I did get it because I made a video about this on TikTok. Where a person was like, "This is overthinking to the extreme," to which I respond, "Shut up."
I mean, of course it is.
Shut up.
But that's what makes it fun.
But no, they commented they had a response because I said, "Can you imagine?" Like, yeah, canonically in this universe, they have driver's licenses. Who gave Oscar the Grouch a driver's license? Like, they are driving perfectly legally, presumably. So it just made me think of the Count. Oscar, not so much. Oscar is driving like all off the road, you know. No, I mean, as in they're driving on the street in a vehicle. They're clearly got registration and a license, I assume. But no, that just made me think. So you think like the Count went to the DMV and like got his driver's license at the DMV, stood in line and took a road test?
I need one
driver's license. Also a two.
Yes.
2 service cards, if it could be helped. I'd like them separated into 2 things, please. So I can have two separate pieces of ID. Yeah, Bert and Ernie. Someone rented them that plane.
I have one car with 4 wheels.
Right?
No, you're assuming they don't just own the plane.
Okay, then someone sold them a plane. Someone sold Bert and Ernie a plane, which is almost worse.
Which is why I say they must be adults.
Okay. The Waylon Jennings song is the best song in the movie. It's
yeah.
It's the best.
Well, what's funny about that too is it's like even growing up, watching that scene, I was like, he's clearly famous. I don't know who he is. Yeah. I still don't.
That happens a lot.
But like, clearly he was important to someone at some point.
That happens a lot in Muppet movies where you're like, oh, hey. Like, now it's like, oh, hey, I know who that is. Like, yeah, when Dave Thomas shows up as a bad guy, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know who that guy is. He's from SCTV. He's one of the mooses in Brother Bear. Where was I going with that? The Muppet. So, yeah, I was like, who gave them their licenses? But yeah, no, it's a weird movie. Like there's a bunch of drama at the end where all the human characters get to actually act, which is great. The puppetry is obviously good. Oh yeah, I tried to Google, but I couldn't find any information of it. Whether or not they actually painted Big Bird blue, or if if they made a Bluebird puppet. Like if there was an operatable blue Big Bird. Or if they actually took a Big Bird puppet and painted in blue. I was really fascinated by it.
Well, I mean, I know that in different parts of the world, the bird in question, I mean, they're each different birds, but there were different colored birds, so it could be that they brought in, like, one of those and used that.
Maybe? I don't know. I tried to find out if there is out there somewhere exists a blue Big Bird puppet. I couldn't find any information on that. What was there? Yeah, none of the other songs are very memorable or good. There's one really random one where it's... Oh, that was the other interesting thing. You know the bit where Bert and Ernie are singing their Upside Down Plane song? Which is a weird...
Yep.
Yeah, that's a weird song. It's like the thing about these Sesame Street movies is they obviously want to include the other characters, so they really struggle to. But yeah, they were actually upside down for that. Like,
really?
Jim Henson and Frank Oz were actually upside down doing that. Like, that is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's intense.
Crazy. Yeah, I was like, that must have been uncomfortable.
It must have been a real head rush.
But yeah. Weird movie that does not get enough respect in the Sesame Street pantheon. That's it. That's the first Sesame Street movie, number 1, and that's my final half scene.
Yes, it is. And so now we move into the territory of have not seens. So, Justin, what's my first one? Say the thing.
Is it Ninjago?
It's Ninjago.
Say it's
Pictures
Ninjago. This I've never seen.
Ninjago.
I've also never seen this movie. I've only ever seen the trailers, and I know the one joke where he's like, "Lloyd, my name is
Lloyd. My name is Lloyd. No, I named you. It's Lloyd.
It's Lloyd.
I named you. So this one has Jackie Chan is starting it off.
Yes, it is.
It's him and this kid are in a relic shop, and Jackie Chan is telling him the story of Ninjago, which is a city within the Lego universe.
It's weird. It's weird that this movie. Okay, number one thing about this movie, which I'm sure you're gonna say, is that it killed the Lego movies. It bombed horrendously.
It was a box office disappointment.
Yep, it bombed horribly, and it killed the Lego movies. They have not made another one. They were in the process of making. They were planning the third Lego movie. And they canceled it because of this, and it's weird because Ninjago is really popular. Like Ninjago itself, there's a bunch of different specials, and I think there's a television show that's separate from this movie that are quite popular and quite successful. So the fact that this didn't do well was a shock. It was surprising, legit surprising.
Well, to be fair, it was part of the issue. According to this, the Lego Movie 2 Part 2 also had a disappointing box office return.
It didn't do as well as the first one. Which was but also to be fair to that, that's because I think they had one of these coming out a year, so it was like this one, then it was the first one, then Batman, then the second one, then this one, and by the time this one came out, people were pretty done. There was fatigue for sure. Yeah, it's definitely franchise fatigue.
Because you're right, it is a fairly popular one. To the point where apparently on the 31st of October 2024. Deadline Hollywood reported a live-action Ninjago film from Universal Pictures was in development.
Yep. Yeah,
I don't know if it still is.
Probably not. But yeah, Ninjago itself is is quite
prior to
popular,
this movie. Yeah. It had a toy line and a TV show.
Yeah.
So
it's
so box office wise,
10-year-old to 12-year-old boys fucking love it. Which, hey, if I were 10 to 12 years old, this is the exact kind of franchise I'd love.
Oh, I mean, it's still fun. That's the thing, is all of these are fun. It's just, and this is kind of the thing, is it's not about whether or not it's fun or even whether or not it's creative. It's about, does it make money? And it didn't.
From what I've seen of this trailer,
it had a budget of $70 million, and it had a box office of $122.1 million.
For me, it was the thing that put me off it. The reason why I've never watched it, because I've seen clips of it, and I know at the end it devolves to a bunch of giant robots punching each other. But
I mean, that's how it starts.
Oh, is that how it starts? Okay, never mind. Well, either way, it involves robots punching each other. I think it's the Lego movie sense of humor didn't work here. I was just the jokey nature of this is not working for me in this context.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. So I'm going to spoil the shit out of this one, unless you have any care about. Okay, so yeah.
Do they beat the bad guy in the end and everyone goes home happy?
They reconcile at the end.
Okay. Is a happy ending is the point.
happy ending. So okay. Uh, in the beginning, yeah, you have Jackie Chan and the kid,
In the
and
beginning, there was
they have
light.
the they have the little Lego figures, like actual Lego figures, um, of the different of Lloyd and the character, yada yada yada. Not the point. And then there's also the cat that's off to the side, and the kid at one point is like is the cat, the story of the cat, real too? And so in the beginning of the movie, I set all that up to explain a future thing. In the beginning of the movie, Lloyd is hated because he's the son of the big bad guy that keeps trying to conquer the city.
Jordan, it's Lloyd.
Sure. But he's also also secretly the Green Ninja who has been protecting the city. Him and his friends all have robots that they use to fight off.
Oh yeah, one of them is
Garmadon.
one of them is the Indian guy from the Eternals, right? I forget his name. Oh, what's his name?
I didn't catch the rest of what you said there.
I said one of them
From what?
Kumail Nanjiani. He's the Indian guy from.
Yeah, he's Jay. He's the blue ninja.
Yeah. I like him. He's funny.
He's the blue ninja of lightning. That's one of the jokes. Is each of them is the is the ninja of an element, and then he gets to Lloyd, and Master Wu is like, and you have the power of green, and Lloyd is like green. Like, can it be wind? That's not taking it.
I love how I've gaslit you into calling him Lloyd.
Technically, it is his name. After he meets his dad, they all start calling him that. So,
that's funny.
But yeah, he keeps being like, can I be wind? Can I be this? This one's not taking you're the power of green. But
like nature
and
green, like he's like
just green,
just the color green.
He's the power of green.
So he doesn't control like trees or plants. It's just the color
green. That's the joke.
All right. Okay.
But also his uncle is voiced by Jackie Chan, and has a long beard, even though he's younger than his dad. Anyways, so the point is that he's trying to train the team to be actual ninjas, and they're bad at it. And hijinks happen. He tells Lloyd, because this is before he meets his dad and becomes Lloyd. He tells Lloyd about the ultimate weapon, and Lloyd goes off to get it to try and stop his dad. And it's a laser pointer, like an actual laser pointer.
So it's like the other Lego movies, and there's an element of fourth wall breaking.
There's an element of a wall breaking thing. So he uses the laser pointer, and it summons, and they have an actual name for him. Where is it? Laser pointer. Yeah, it attracts a live action cat named Meowthra.
Meowthra. That's good. That's funny.
And Meowthra, he points the laser at the mechs and stuff, and then the cat goes after the laser.
That's
they
funny.
break the they accidentally break the laser pointer, and then Meowthra is out of control, and then that's where they have to go off and do adventure stuff.
And it's just a live action cat.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And so the way that like at the end, basically Garmadon goes back to try and defeat Meowthra with the ultimate weapon, and he gets eaten. And so then the Lloyd and the others arrive, and
that's not good for the cat.
Lloyd approaches Meowthra and is basically like, talking to his dad and reconciling to him through the stomach. And then his dad cries, and when his dad cries, he cries lava, which upsets the cat's stomach, and he pukes him up. And then that's basically how it ends. Meowthra becomes the mascot of the city, and Lloyd is hailed as a hero, and yeah. And then it ends with, back in live action, Jackie Chan tells the boy that he has the potential to be a great ninja warrior, and they start training at dawn.
That is very funny.
Yeah, it's fun. You've got Dave Franco as Lloyd Garmadon. Michael Pena as Kai. Come on, I'm not going to read all of these. Zach Woods as Zane. Jackie Chan as Master Wu. Justin Theroux?
Thoreau. He's the guy who did you know that TikTok rap thing where he's like, I did a rap on that show. My money don't jiggle jiggle. It folds. I like the way it wiggles.
Oh, yeah.
Or show that he's that guy.
Those are the biggest names.
Is that it, Jordan? Is that it, Jordan?
Oh, interesting. Apparently, in order to give the film a more believable father-son atmosphere, Dave Franco and Justin Theroux recorded most of their lines where their characters interact with each other in a single booth.
Oh, neat. Jordan, is that it? Are you done?
Oh, that's also interesting. This is kind of a neat touch. Master Wu's fight scenes, the character that Jackie Chan plays, apparently Jackie Chan choreographed all of those fight scenes in live action before they were recreated in animation for the film.
Neat. Jordan, is that it?
I think so.
All right.
There's apparently a video game.
All right. So, Sesame Street went to theaters one other time. For a movie that now, okay, by the time this movie came out in 1999. By that point, I was pretty much done with Sesame Street. So before this week, I'd never seen this movie. This movie is called Elmo's Adventures in Grouchland. And this is a theatrical movie. I actually remember this coming in theaters because I remember going to the theaters to watch something else and like peeking my head open and seeing it in theaters on the big screen. And the plot of this, it's a Sesame. So okay. Well, we'll get into the plot of this in a moment. But as much as I said the last one wasn't really a very good Sesame Street movie, this is. This feels like a Sesame Street movie. There are points in this where it does skew probably older than I would say Sesame Street's target demographic, but it is, at its core, a Sesame Street movie. A good chunk of it takes place on Sesame Street. The back half of it, not so much. But okay, so the plot of this is Elmo is living on Sesame Street, living his best life, with his best friend, Blanket, who is an anthropomorphic blanket. And he runs into Zoe, and Zoe decides that she also likes the blanket, and Elmo's like, no.
Wait. Which one's Zoe? Is she the one that has Rocco?
Yes, that's Zoe, the orange one.
Okay.
And so she and Elmo get into a fight. Elmo's like, it's my blanket, give it to me. And they get into a fight, and the blanket gets torn. And Elmo's really pissed off, and he's like, no, Zoe, we're not friends anymore. I'm not friends with you anymore because you broke my blanket. And then the blanket gets blown away in the wind, and it winds up going in Oscar the Grouch's garbage can. And he calls in Oscar, are you home? Oscar, are there? And all the other Sesame. Oh, also, there's a bunch of musical numbers. Like the first 2 to 3, I say 5-10 minutes of the movie are like successive musical numbers. There's like a really long one that involves all of the characters, all of them, that goes on for like an eternity. That's actually pretty. It's not a bad song. So anyway, Elmo's blanket goes into Oscar's garbage can. And they're like, you have to wait, Elmo, for Oscar to come back, and he'll give it to you when he comes back. And Elmo, like a certified junkie, kind of similar to Linus from Peanuts, is like, no, I need that blanket right this second, right now. And so he like jumps into the can, and he jumps into Oscar's can. It turns out that inside Oscar's can, his place is massive. He's sort of like a cartoon turtle, where like inside his garbage can is a full apartment. Like a gigantic TARDIS. Yeah, it's a TARDIS. And in this TARDIS, in his closet, there is a magic portal that leads to Grouchland, USA. And he happens to see Oscar as Elmo's blanket goes into the portal, and Elmo goes into the portal, and he winds up in Grouchland, USA, where everything is opposite. You know, you're not allowed to be happy. You're not allowed to call. You're not allowed to have friends or help anybody. You can't call for help. And there is an evil bad guy played by Mandy Patinkin, who you would know as You Have Killed My Father. I Seek Revenge from Princess Bride.
Oh, Intego Montoya?
Yeah, that's Mandy Patinkin.
Oh, that's a weird thing for him to be in this.
Yeah, and he's kind of like Michael Caine, where he's taking this 100% seriously. He has a musical number that is really long, which he is putting his absolute everything into. But he is a bad guy. I don't remember what his name is, like Felix something. And his whole bit is he steals shit. So he goes up and he goes, as soon as I touch it, it's mine. It's mine. Touch that, it's mine. I touch that, it's mine. And he's got a bunch of bug sidekicks or whatever. And he steals Elmo's blanket. And he's like, this blanket is mine. And he goes off to his place. And Elmo...
Wow. Seems really petty for a full-grown adult to steal a child's blanket,
yeah,
but okay.
Yeah, and so then the
plot... I guess that's why he lives in Grouchland. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah. And so the plot of the movie is, hold on, 2 seconds. I need to text.
He's chuckling to himself. That's not a good sign. Why is he chuckling to himself?
We are at the end. Almost.
Are you talking to me?
Sorry, I have another engagement after this. I'm just letting her know. Give.
Hey, it says we have five people watching.
What would you say, Jordan? 15 minutes? You've got one more thing, right?
Something like that. My last one is not going to take very long.
20-ish minutes.
I don't imagine it's going to take very long anyway.
Let's do 15. We'll do 15-ish minutes. 15-ish minutes. So
you're jumping right into after this?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, well then I guess I'll leave you here.
Are you going to the dollar store?
I was going to go to the dollar store, but if you're not with me, then I'll just make a trip to the full store because that's what I actually wanted to do.
Hold on. We'll talk afterwards because
we'll talk shop after.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, Elmo and Grouchland. So the plot of this is that that Mandy Patinkin steals Elmo's blanket, and Elmo has to go get the blanket from him as he travels through Grouchland. So he gets help from a pink Grouch who's a girl who's not allowed to be his friend because Grouches aren't allowed to have friends. And there's actually a really good song that happens towards the middle that's about finding your feet and like being brave. That's actually quite like the music in this is actually quite good. And so then it cuts back to all the other characters on Sesame Street who have discovered that Elmo has disappeared. And so because this movie needs to include the Sesame Street characters, they all jump into the can and they chase after him, and they wind up in Grouchland. And the acting isn't nearly as good as in Follow That Bird, but still pretty good. And this is a much better Sesame Street movie because throughout the movie there's a running bit where it keeps cutting, and I sent you a clip of it, but it keeps it keeps cutting back to Bert and Ernie, who are talking, and throughout the movie, the movie begins with Bert and Ernie. They're like, okay, guys, in the audience, every once in a while, Elmo's gonna need your help. So when he asks for your help, we're gonna need your help. So there's a bit later on where he runs into the garbage queen, and you have to blow raspberries. In order to do this ultimate challenge, I need a bunch of raspberries. And so it's like, I need you to give me 100 raspberries in a minute. And so Elmo turns to the audience and is like, I need you guys to help me. And so I was like, if I was 3 to 5 years old and I was the target audience for fucking Sesame Street, this would blow my mind. Elmo's talking to me. This is incredible. Bert and Ernie are talking to me. This is incredible. It would blow my mind. And there's a really weird joke at the end. Like there's parts where it starts to get kind of scary. Where Bert and Ernie will pop in and be like, "Don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay." I sent you the one where like no movies have a happy ending or have a sad ending, and Bert's like, "Titanic has a sad ending." It's just the matter of fact way he says it. It's so fucking funny.
And then he proceeds to list off like several other ones, and it's just like, no, Bert, no.
What about Dr. Zhivago? As if the kids are gonna get a Dr. Zhivago reference. It's so weird. But it's a much better Sesame Street movie. But it's also like deep enough and clever enough. Like Elmo's got an arc that he learns where he realizes there's a point where the person's like, "You're just like Mandy Patinkin," and he's like, "No, I'm not." And then he has a flashback to earlier in the movie where he's fighting with Zoe, where he's like, "Oh my god!" So he has a little character arc where he learns about sharing, and yeah, it's cute. It's cute. It's a cute movie. Yeah, it's a good Sesame Street movie. And there was points where I'm like, I'm not the target demographic for this, but also like, yeah, when you're really stoned and Elmo talks to you, it's kind of fun. Like, yeah, like at the end, I was like, when I was like, "Thanks for helping," like, "You're welcome, man. I did what I could."
Oh man, you're welcome. I'm glad to help.
Yeah, you don't have to be like that. It's cool.
Gee willikers.
I'm glad to help. But yeah, it's cute, enjoyable.
Any other thoughts about Grouchland?
That's it. That's all on Grouchland.
All right. Well, my last not rapid fire. My last have not seen. So I kind of cheated with this one because it's not about. It really depends on what you define as a toy, I suppose. It's called Ouija. Based on the infamous Ouija board.
It is technically a toy. It is technically a toy.
Well, sure, except in the movie they multiple times refer to it as a board game. So
board game is technically a toy.
Is it?
It's
not toy in like the toy fashion of what I've been going for.
No.
But that's where I say it really depends on what you consider. Anyways, this movie's weird.
I hear it's bad.
It's weird. It's bad, but it's weird. Like it's so. The director doesn't matter, but. Producers that were on it: Jason Blum, Michael Bay.
Yeah, it's a Blum movie.
Andrew Form,
Blumhouse movie.
Bradley Fuller. But
the wild part is they made more than one.
Yeah, the other thing that I thought was funny is the fact that like she's in like every horror movie ever. Lynn Shay is in this.
I don't know who that is.
Yes, you do. If you've seen such movies as, where is it? Any of the Insidious film movies.
I have seen those. The
Grunge, Tales of Halloween, Ouija, Field of Screams. She's in a whole bunch of. She was in Nightmare on Elm Street. But no, you know her from Insidious. She's the old lady. She wears the gas mask.
Oh yes, I do know her. Yes.
She's in this one as like a tertiary, like they go to her late in the movie character.
Interesting.
But so this movie's funny because it very much plays up on that. that whole trope of like we all have our hands on the board and someone's actually talking to us and like that's. Yes. Supposed to be like except in this, of course, there actually is an evil spirit and there is something to be scared of and yada yada. And
is it scary?
I mean, I don't think so, but I don't typically find horror movies to be scary. It's I don't know how to describe it. I think I've become so desensitized because of movies like Terrifier and Saw and things like that, so it's like it's not violent enough to be a horror movie for me, and I don't believe in ghosts, so it's not scary.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Actually. Like I have a tangential like maybe same view as I do of God, where it's like there could be ghosts. I just haven't really ever seen anything that makes me truly believe in it.
Also fair.
But I don't discount the idea that they do exist.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, I mean, so her friend died. Basically, her and Cold Notes version of the plot. Her and her friend, main character and her friend convinces her to use the Ouija board, and her friend ends up dead. And then main character, gets the rest of her friends to do the Ouija board with her. They think they're talking to their friend. They're not actually talking to their friend. Her friends start dying one by one. So they start doing research into because she holds the thing up at one point and sees the spirit mom what they think is their friend or whatever, or it's the daughter or something. So then they find out that the sister had another, like, the daughter had a sister who is Lin Shaye, that the Insidious character. They go to her and she's like, you have to break the connection and burn the bones of our mother, and that'll set you free from because you used the board and then you created a connection between the undead and you, and it's the thing is growing, and very insidious, like Insidious movie style babble talk about paranormal shit. And then, so they burn the bones and the board, and it kills the mom spirit. And then, oh no, you find out that it was actually the daughter who was doing the killing, and the sister was fucking crazy. Which they like portray it like it's this big surprise when she was in an insane asylum. I'm just saying, it really shouldn't have, or at least I'm pretty sure it was an insane asylum. Really shouldn't have come as a huge surprise that she was a that she was a mentally unwell person. Yeah, she was at a psychiatric hospital. Okay, good. I'm not crazy.
But she was.
And so then, yeah, they stopped the sister, and things seem to be okay. And let's put this exactly how it works. Later, Lane finds that the planchette, which I guess that's the thing that you put on the board and move around, has mysteriously appeared back at her home, and looks through it as the screen cuts to black and the movie ends, setting up for a sequel.
Which they made, because this movie made stupid money.
Yeah, this movie had a budget. This movie had wow. This movie had a budget of $5 to $8 million. And do you want to guess what its return was?
Oh, probably like 100 million.
103.6 million.
Yeah, I know.
Which is wow.
Jordan, is that
but
it?
I just final thoughts was, as I was watching this movie, I was just like, yeah, it's like a PG-13 horror movie where it's like, it's not violent enough to truly be horror for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Lame PG-13 horror movie. So, Jordan.
Yeah.
Final thing. It's a little show, a little movie called H&R Puffin Stuff.
Yeah, you sent me a clip of that earlier, and it seemed weird.
Yeah. Okay, so H&R Puffin Stuff. The fast version of this is H&R Puffin Stuff was a TV show created by the Croft brothers, Sid and Marty Croft, and it's a magical show where it's about a kid who goes to an island where everything's alive. He's got a magical flute that's alive, and there's an evil witch that's constantly trying to get the flute. That's what the show's about. The movie is a sort of adaptation, an elongated version of the show, while also like a prequel, because the first, I watched the first episode of the show, and the first episode of the show, it starts with him already on the island, whereas the movie shows like how he came to the island and how the flute came to life. The flute just kind of comes to life. Just one moment it's a flute, and then the next minute it's alive. And like the movie starts with him getting kicked out of band, and the flute comes to life. And yeah, it is otherwise, yeah, it's proto Barney. The puppetry is bad. Like that's where I said Jim Henson pioneered a lot of techniques. There's points where the lip sync straight up doesn't match what the puppets are saying. The kid, there's points where his singing doesn't match up to what he's saying. And it is otherwise a very generic fairy tale story, up until the point where randomly in the third act of a movie, a Nazi mouse just shows up. And yeah, for the entire scene, he's doing the Nazi salute. I was about to do it. It's just every 2 minutes he does the Nazi salute. Like he turns around, Nazi salute. Turns around, Nazi salute. He's just randomly yelling German. It's so weird because he's working for the witches, and none of the witches are German or remotely
or an Nazi. An allegory or coded for Nazis at all?
At all. The songs are bad. Is otherwise generally a not very good movie. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not very good. It's not very interesting.
So you wouldn't recommend it to children?
No, and it was really hard to download and get and find. Go watch the Muppets. It's on Disney Plus. That's it. That's the end of the show. We have to talk about next week.
Next week.
On the Spur of the Moment podcast, Superman.
Da 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 da.
It's Superman. We're gonna watch. We're gonna have a big.
It's
review.
real Superman.
We are gonna go watch Superman Legacy. We're gonna go see Superman Legacy. So we're gonna
trying.
We're gonna have a big old review of Superman Legacy for you next week, and we're gonna obviously preload that with a bunch of Superman shit. I'm gonna watch Superman 2 because I got a fun comment about Superman 2. I want to watch Superman Lives.
I want to watch Superman Returns. I want to watch the original Superman movie.
Yeah, Superman. Technically, I think
probably throw some Justice League in there.
Technically speaking, I talked about Superman before, but we could always talk about the first Superman movie again. That's great. Jordan, where can they find you?
I do Minecraft on Mondays, Ethcore187 on Twitch, and on the weekends, I'm here. Being incomparable.
You can find me on TikTok. I'm at TikTok Justin Spurr. You can find the show. It's Spur of the Moment P on TikTok. You can email the show if you want to sponsor us or you want us to shout out anything in the sponsorship section. So it's justinsbusiness@gmail.com. You can join the Discord. You can support us on Patreon. If you want to be on the show, I have a handy Google form you could fill out if you want to come be on the show. We will see you all next week. If you want to see the previous podcast, you click the box on the left. I do end cards now. If you want to see a random video, you click the box on the right. Hit subscribe.
And please donate to the campaign for the animals. Do it for the animals.
Do it for the animals. Subscribe. We have videos 7 days a week. 7 days a week there's videos. There's always something for you. We're going to have a slew of videos coming out next week, coming off of this episode. We got a Sesame Street video coming out. All sorts of videos coming out. Subscribe. It's a good time. I have to go do another podcast. See you next week, everybody!